Do you remember when we were in grade school or maybe in middle school where the principal would sit in and everybody had to be on their best behavior during the show and they would call it a teacher review, a peer review? My boss is the executive producer of the show today. Rob is not here. Rob, as you know, is moving into a new house. He's trying to get his affairs in order before football season. Steven Spector is our producer today. We will have zero fun. There will be no games. There will be no laughs. There's no controversial stories associated with it. There were things I wanted to talk about. Usually Rob and I would brainstorm it. We would go through it. We'd be on the same page. Spector came in here vetoing a lot of the ideas that I had planned for the show today. So you know what? Today is going to be a straight down the middle broadcast. We're going to talk some Royals baseball. We're going to have Boss Appreciation Day, where you're going to talk about what your boss means for you in your life, maybe lessons that you've learned. I mean, they've been more like a father figure to you, I'm guessing. That's how we're going to celebrate the show today. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Steven Spector is here. We are going up until 4:30 today. Usually, this is where I would joke that the Royals would have an 8-1 loss that they have in the queue. With the boss man here, I'm sure they got an exciting 6-0 win that they are preparing for in today's show. We got a lot to get into. I had a chance to catch up with Phil Steele earlier today, who covers college football extraordinaire. We'll get to that. I got a lot of Chiefs as we are one sleep away from the start of Chiefs training camp. Rookies and quarterbacks report to training camp tomorrow. We are going to cover a lot of Chiefs for the remainder of the week. Before we dive into the open of the show today, I need to remind you guys of 4 things today. I'm asking a lot. Number 1, I want you to go up to your boss today and just tell them how much they mean to you. I just want you to go up to them and just say, hey, thanks for you giving me this opportunity. I don't know where my life would be without you. Number 2, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. Number 3, I need you to tell one friend to listen to the show. And number 4, and today, certainly most importantly, I need you to remember that the open of the show each and every day is brought to you by our good friends over at The Other Place. Stop in, grab a bite to eat, grab lunch, maybe have a drink on the patio. We still got some warm months here in Kansas City to enjoy in the patio with our friends at The Other Place. I want to start today's show talking about 2 future Team Hall of Fame members. One of them will one day go into the Chiefs Ring of Honor. The other one will one day go into the Royals Hall of Fame. Let's start with Salvador Perez, who tied George Brett's record for the most home runs in Royals history. I don't know if we maybe sit down enough and really appreciate everything that Salvador Perez means to the Kansas City Royals and what he means to this community. When you are a kid and you decide to have a favorite athlete, regardless of who that was, maybe it was Derek Thomas, maybe it was a Kansas basketball player, whoever that person is, whenever you decide that you want to have a favorite player, you hope that they turn out to be exactly what Salvador Perez has turned out to be, from how I would say selfless he was from a contract perspective early on in his career and always representing the community with love and grace. Do you guys remember the story? This was a few years ago where he saw some kids playing baseball on his off day, parked his car and started playing baseball with these kids and then autographed a bunch of stuff. That is not normal superstar behavior. That is not normal athlete behavior. When was the last time that you saw a Chiefs story where fill-in-the-blank running back saw kids playing football in the street and then decided to play two-hand touch with them? That is not normal behavior of how a superstar, future Hall of Famer, future maybe baseball Hall of Famer goes about his business. You have never heard a bad story about Salvador Perez. He has been one of the more beloved players in Royal history. He has also shown a measure of loyalty. Now, some of you have been around long enough and you have followed enough Royals baseball to know that just because you were the best player on the Royals, that necessarily didn't mean that you were going to stay in Kansas City or finish out your career in Kansas City. We can think of dozens of athletes who were really good, but at some point, whether they wanted to chase a championship, maybe they wanted more money, sort of like Tyreek Hill, and we'll get to him coming up in a bit. But we have seen a lot of athletes in Kansas City come and go. Maybe they decided to come back and visit. Maybe they decided to make their home here. But ultimately, those players put on another uniform. Salvador Perez has always made the decision to be in Kansas City and not just play for the team, but to be a very important member in the community. So as his career is starting to wind down and the production isn't what it was during the prime of his career, as he continues to check off more and more boxes, it is important to note that there have not been too many better players and more important players in Royals history than he is. And ultimately, when his career is done, he will be this generation's Frank White. Frank White is not the most popular former Royal. That was George Brett during the time. He was not the most successful. But before his political campaign, everybody loved Frank White. Everybody appreciated Frank White. His number is retired. It was a no doubt that he was going to have a statue out at Kauffman Stadium. Salvador Perez is going to have many of those things. His number is going to be retired next to Dick Hauser, George Brett, and Frank White. He is ultimately going to have a statue. He has one of the more iconic moments in Royals history. Salvador Perez, when this baseball journey is over, whenever it is going to get a send-off fitting and deserving of someone like Salvador Perez. This is the kind of athlete that you want your kids to look up to. When you go outside and you're in the backyard and you are mimicking your favorite athletes, one of the people that you should tell your kid that you need to practice being more like has been Salvador Perez and everything that he has represented in Kansas City throughout the duration of his career. Salvi has been in Kansas City for 15 years. His major league debut was on August 10th of 2011. Salvi has been in Kansas City and always chosen Kansas City at almost every single stage of his career. The other athlete that I want to talk about that ultimately is going to be in one of the local team's rings of honor is Tyreek Hill. So yesterday he posted an Instagram clip, and in this Instagram clip he says that, quote, he has no power in his injured left leg. This is 10 months after surgery. Uh-oh. I think we can officially eliminate one part of this conversation. Tyreek Hill is not playing week 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs or any NFL team. That is not to say that Tyreek Hill can't come back and recover from this and potentially play football again. But if you were holding out hope that in 2 weeks, as the Chiefs get into the hot part of training camp, that they were going to pick up Tyreek Hill and he was going to be an addition to this team, we have our answer, at least in the early portion of the season, of what that means. I find it hard to believe that you can go from having no power in your injured left leg to in 2-3 months, you are now ready to compete and help a team get over the hump and be a difference maker for a playoff/Super Bowl team. I believe there is a chance that Tyreek Hill never plays football again. And we've heard these rumblings from whether it was James Palmer who's been on the show, whether it was Dr. David Chow who's been on the show and said this. But the fact that Tyreek Hill would say that he doesn't feel power in his left leg and would say that publicly, this was not an interview. He put out this content for himself to show you that he is working and trying to get back on the football field. Tyreek Hill may never be the same. Now, I believe that Tyreek Hill is a Hall of Fame player, whether or not he ever gets back on the football field. He was a very important member of a Super Bowl team. He's played in multiple Super Bowls. 5 times he has been a first-team All-Pro. He's been on a second-team All-Pro. He had a year in which he was the best receiver in the National Football League. He is on the All-Decade team in the 2010s. He is one of the most explosive players in league history. We always talk about you had to be there to see it kind of guys. That's not what Tyreek Hill is. If you show anybody Tyreek Hill's best of, if you show anybody Tyreek Hill's mixtape, he is one of the most explosive wide receivers in the history of the National Football League. So I don't believe that Tyreek needs to add anything to his legacy, so to speak. I don't think that Tyreek Hill needs to bring anything before the court. I think that Tyreek Hill has everything he needs to argue that he is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. What does this mean for the Kansas City Chiefs? And we'll talk more about this coming up on the other side. This is the wide receiver unit then. The Chiefs have given you no reason to believe that they are going to go out and add a wide receiver that they don't know. Tyreek Hill is different. He knows Andy. He knows Pat. He knows Travis. He knows Eric Bieniemy. Bringing him back to the team was very, very simple. Look at how the Chiefs moved this offseason. The Chiefs, despite having the questions about Xavier Worthy, despite having the questions about Rashee Rice, despite having multiple first-round picks, the Chiefs have not prioritized wide receiver. Now, maybe that is different once we get closer to the trade deadline, and the same way that they acquired DeAndre Hopkins, they'll do the same thing with going to pick up a wide receiver. But the Chiefs have had every opportunity over the last 5 months to suggest to me and to you that they see wide receiver as an issue, and at every single turn they have told you that's not how they feel about the position group. So there are some things that we can have conversations about. We can have a conversation about corner and what you think is going to happen with Christian Fulton or L'Jarius Sneed. If you want to have that same conversation at defensive end and who's going to get to the other team's quarterback, that's a fair conversation to have. I don't think there's another conversation to have about wide receiver and who they can potentially add. The number one name on the list, the Family Feud number one answer, he just said that he has no power in his left leg. The Chiefs report to training camp this weekend. He's not close to being ready to being able to help the Kansas City Chiefs. So he is not playing for the Kansas City Chiefs in August and preseason games. He is not playing in the Broncos game on September 13th to kick off the season. I don't think he is playing for Kansas City at all this season. I'm not sure if Tyreek Hill plays another football game, or even if he comes back, there is no guarantee that Tyreek Hill turns out to be a productive player for anybody. We've seen this happen time and time again in NFL history. You have a pretty catastrophic injury. Maybe you come back and try to play for a little bit, but that's the beginning of the end. I know it's a very different injury. This is sort of what happened to Bo Jackson. He was healthy enough to get back and try to play, but that hip injury was the end of Bo Jackson's career. That leg injury that Tyreek Hill suffered during week 4 of last season, that was the end of Tyreek Hill as a productive NFL player. We'll continue to talk about the wide receiver room coming up on the other side as we are having Boss Appreciation Day. You're listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan.
It's the summer sales event at Robside Ford. Your chance to upgrade without the stress. Robside joins me now. Rob, what's the offer?
0% financing, $0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days on nearly the entire Ford lineup.
That's a serious summer deal.
Sure is. And unlike your brisket last weekend, these deals aren't dry.
Okay, that's fair. These savings are definitely juicy.
And we're backing it up with 2 years of complimentary maintenance, a non-commissioned sales team, and top trade-in values.
No pressure. No gimmicks at Robside Ford. It's the way car buying should be.
We're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 Google reviews, and a better experience from start to finish.
So skip the smoke and the dry meat. This summer, start at Robside Ford.
135th and State Line or robsighc.com. 0% financing, $0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 2 years of complimentary maintenance.
Robside Ford, buy right, drive happy. And next time, maybe stick to potato salad.
Baseball fans, do you have a feeling on who's going to yard today? Who's going to hit a home run? Well, don't just sit on that feeling. FanDuel wants you to call your shot every day with daily dingers. All you have to do is make your pick on who's hitting a home run, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a shot at bigger winnings. Now when your favorite slugger hits that walk-off home run, you can feel like a winner as well. Daily Dingers on FanDuel is free to play, and you can lock in a pick every day of the baseball season, and that's why FanDuel is the home for home runs. So are you ready to play your game? Check out Daily Dingers on FanDuel.com/local. One more time, that's FanDuel.com/local to make your free pick on who you think is going yard today. Big hits mean even bigger winners on FanDuel. Remember, FanDuel is an official partner of Major League Baseball and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issue with non-withdrawable profit boost. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Conservative, family man, author of The Bald Plan to Reduce Property Taxes. Listen to Scott Schwab.
Property taxes are killing Kansans, but one day it hit me. Bald.
BALD stands for Better Affordable Living by Decreasing Property Taxes. And it's the only detailed plan. Schwab's Bold Plan means voter approval for property tax hikes, refunds for unfair assessments, and tax relief for seniors and working families. Listen to Scott Schwab.
I'm focused on reducing taxes for Kansans. You should keep more. My Bold Plan makes sure of it. When I'm governor, we'll get it done.
Finally, a governor with a good head on his shoulders. Author of the Bold Plan to decrease property taxes, conservative Republican Scott Schwab for governor. Visit scottschwab.com/bald to learn more. Paid for by Schwab for Governor, Jim Felter, Treasurer.
Oh, hey, Sarah. Did you hear my daughter Katie got Camper of the Week?
That's a big deal.
We got a big deal too, right, Mom?
Honey, shh.
What's that?
Okay, that Hyundai Santa Fe, I only paid.
Nice.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or 1.9% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Tucson, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends August 3rd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
I scream. You scream. We all scream. Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only, not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Lemonade! Fresh squeezed lemonade! Lemonade? Oh, nuts.
Is your business struggling to be seen? Not reaching the right customers?
Yeah.
Odyssey's here to help. Your one-stop shop for digital marketing.
Wait, really?
With targeted digital media, plus SEO, SEM, social, OTT, and more, we help your business reach the right audience and drive results.
Whoa, hey, one at a time.
Stop missing out on valuable customers. Visit digitallocalads.com to learn more about our local advertising solutions. That's digitallocalads.com.
Okay, people, line starts here.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Jack Caglione from the Kansas City Royals. Welcome back to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Did you guys happen to watch the television show Friday Night Lights? I'm a big fan of Friday Night Lights. Do you remember Santiago's character? That's who I feel I am. You remember Buddy Garrity? That's who Steven Spector is. That's the kind of effect that he's had on my life. I was lost. I was wayward. All of a sudden, this man took me in, and I started getting sacks on the quarterback, and I started changing the career of the Dillon Panthers. That's the kind of effect that Steven Spector has had on me. Rob is out for the next couple of days. He is moving into a new house. He's getting all of his affairs in order. We had a part-timer unable to be here with us today. It was 1:27, and we didn't have a whole lot of options. And Spector said, you know what? I'll do it. You need to be on your best behavior. I was so focused on the open and making sure that I did everything I was supposed to do that I forgot one of the fundamental principles of this show. We'll get back to talking about Tyreek Hill. There's a lot to talk about with Tyreek Hill, but we have a rule on this show. If we talk about the Royals in the first segment of the show and we talked about Salvador Perez, that can only mean one thing. Hit the music!
We're where you want to be. Baseball with the Royals. If you want to be having a great time.
Let's get to it. Today's random lineup. I don't even know what direction we're going with the random lineup. Spector's so excited to give this one to you.
It's like 2018 all over again. So, you mentioned Salvador Perez made his debut on August 10th, 2011, almost 15 years ago to the date. So that's the day we'll go to. Rays, Royals, in front of a robust 11,000 people at Tropicana Field. The Royals went on to lose 8-7, falling to 49-68 on Salvador Perez's debut.
You know how it's hard to get everybody in agreement on anything? Everybody agrees about Tropicana Field. There's not a single person that says, you know what? They're wrong about Tropicana. No, everybody's on the same page. It stinks.
People don't even go to their baseball trips down there, and it's a beautiful part of the country.
Yeah.
Leading off for your Kansas City Royals that day in left field was Alex Gordon.
Okay.
Hitting 2, center fielder Melky Cabrera.
The Milkman.
5 RBIs that day, even went deep.
Okay.
At that time,
carried
he
the
was hitting 306, 339 OBP by that point in the season. Hitting third, DHing, Billy Butler.
Country breakfast.
In the cleanup spot, first baseman Eric Hosmer. Hitting fifth in right field, Jeff Francoeur. Hitting sixth and playing second base, Johnny Giavotella.
Johnny G. The Royals always have these two things on their team. They always have a guy that you want the organization to get rid of, but yet they keep playing every day. That was Jeff Francoeur on this team. They always have a guy that you want to play more than he actually plays, but the organization won't play him. That was Johnny Giavotella.
Well, listen to this 7-8-9 on August 11th, 2011.
At some point, you start to explain why the Royals were the Royals that season.
But 7-8-9. Hitting seventh, catching, making his major league debut, Salvador Perez.
Okay, salute to him.
Hitting eighth, playing third base, Mike Moustakas.
Okay.
Hitting ninth, playing shortstop, Alcides Escobar. 7-8-9, Perez, Moustakas, Escobar. And on the hill, someone named Felipe Paulino. This was before I moved here. I don't recall a Felipe Paulino.
You can always tell where the Royals are in their development based off where Mike Moustakas is hitting and based on Alcides Escobar. If Alcides Escobar is hitting 1, things are going well for the Kansas City Royals. If he's hitting 2, things are going all right. If he's in the bottom half of the order, things are going real bad for the Royals at that point.
This was the buildup.
Things are going real bad at that point. Text line 913-586-7965. We were talking about this before the break. Tyreek Hill on his Instagram page says that he has no power in his left leg. If he is somebody that you were excited about potentially adding at training camp, I would remove that idea. He is not playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, certainly not in the short term, probably not in the long term either. Somebody on the text line says he's definitely not permanently done. Yeah, I don't know about that. He is 32 years old, coming off a significant leg injury. Maybe Tyreek Hill plays another NFL game. It's certainly possible if he plays another NFL game. But the Cheetah, as we remember him, that's over in my mind. He, at most, to me, has a season and a half left, and he is whatever you get from him is added. You are not just hopping back into the NFL season in week 7 and week 8 and playing yourself into game shape and being able to help. That stuff is really, really hard to overcome. I'm a big believer that we overestimate athletes' ability to come back. Let's take somebody like Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham was having a very good second half of the season with the Los Angeles Rams. Remember, he got hurt in the Super Bowl. That was almost effectively the end of Odell Beckham's career. He kind of played in 2023. He gave you nothing in 2024. He was out all 2025, and now he's back with the New York Giants, and I don't know what role you have for Odell Beckham at 33 years old and coming off a season in which he didn't play. I just wouldn't count on a whole lot more for Odell Beckham. The end usually comes pretty rapidly for NFL players. The end feels like it is here to me with Tyreek Hill. Spec, I think we're done having conversations about Tyreek Hill. If we're 10 months removed from that injury and you're still not healthy and you still can't do some of those things, you got a long way to go in your recovery.
Yeah, and I would also just add, his whole persona and his whole career is built off speed. It'd be one thing if he was 6'3", possession receiver, just 5 yards, turn around, catch the ball, make contested catch. Everything that he's done for the last, 10 years in the NFL is based on speed. No power in a left leg at age 32, 10 months after that surgery. Those things don't improve. Like you always say, you don't get healthier playing football. I would not be surprised. I'm with you. I would not be surprised if Tyreek Hill does not play another down in the National Football League.
Yeah, I would just be very, very stunned if, I think it's over that he's just going to be that dominant player that he was. 18 months ago, he was one of the 5 best receivers in the National Football League. An injury happens. You miss basically all of last season. He only played in 4 games. He's not going to start the season this year. That's a lot of time of being inactive, and you also got to get through physically. Can you still do the same things? You play football. People are always grabbing at your legs, twisting your ankle. Are you still going to have the the twitch, the explosiveness to do all the things that make you Tyreek Hill, I don't know if that's going to be the case.
If I could snap my fingers and say on October 1st, Tyreek Hill was 100% healthy, do you want him on the Chiefs?
Yeah, if he was healthy, I'd be interested in Tyreek Hill. Okay. I'd be healthy.
I'm not interested at all, so I actually think this is a blessing in disguise for the Chiefs.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, I think you just have to be realistic about what you are going to get. And some of this, I trust the Chiefs, if he was healthy, to make it work. If I told you 4 years ago that the Kareem Hunt experiment would go as seamless as it was, you probably wouldn't have believed me. But he came in with the right attitude. The team really embraced him. He had a role. He fit his role perfectly, and they got 2 year and a half of really good production out of Kareem Hunt. The Kareem Hunt thing has kind of changed my opinion. I think they are much more interested in reunions than we think, but a lot of it comes down to how do you think he is going to be accepted in the locker room? That's something they can answer, something I can't really answer. But if they were going to accept him, he was willing to accept the role and what he could possibly do and fit into the offense. I was interested in Tyreek coming back.
I'm not, because I guess from my vantage point, I don't see the Chiefs as a Super Bowl contender this year. And I don't think Tyreek Hill makes them more or less a Super Bowl contender. Maybe he's the difference between making the playoffs and, being a wild card, or missing the playoffs and being a wild card team. But I would rather use this year, if you're just looking at it through the wide receiver prism, instead of using Tyreek Hill, I would rather find out what I have in Jalen Royals or find out what I have in Cyrus Allen and give them the opportunity to see if they are a part of the 27-28 plan, in which I believe those are the years the Chiefs are targeting to try and get back to the Super Bowl.
Coming up in about an hour or so, we're going to be joined by Phil Steele covering a little bit of college football. We go through some of the national stories as we are entering the season and also take a closer look at the 3 local programs as we are heading into the season. I was thinking back to the show yesterday, and we didn't have a whole lot of time, but I was thinking back to our conversations about the renderings that were released about Arrowhead Stadium. And I was reading some of the text to it. And then I was on Facebook and I was on social media and I was reading it. Some people are absolutely thrilled through the moon with the renderings that we saw. Some people very upset about it. And it got me thinking, shouldn't this be an example of how you can't make everybody happy? The Chiefs were ultimately in a no-win situation. And I hate to be in a position where I got to defend the Chiefs because I don't think that their renovations came from a very honest place. It felt like they rushed it together last second and threw something. And if we were going to give them more money, they were happy to take it. But ultimately, they were excited about a new plan and a new vision for Arrowhead Stadium. This is how I think the Chiefs were largely put into a no-win situation. Let's say that the Chiefs had come into it with a radically new design and a radically new idea. Some of you would have hated it because it wasn't Arrowhead. Hey, we love this design. We love the stadium. What's wrong with it? Why do you guys want to change tradition? If they had come in with something we had never seen before, unlike anybody's stadium in the National Football League, there would have been a very vocal group of people that would have hated it, felt like they were moving away from tradition, felt like they were moving away from nostalgia and who they are as an organization and just trying to be something that they're not. Now I see frustration that it's the stadium that people love, but the updated modern version of the stadium. Wait, what? So if you would have been mad if they had gone in a completely different direction and done something radically different, but you're also mad that it doesn't seem to have, and this is just a couple of pictures. This is just a rendering. I'm perfectly fine with the stadium. I love the idea and the vision that they are going with, that it does seem. We love Arrowhead the way that it is. We love the structure of it. We love the functionality of it. Why don't we take all of the things that we like about Arrowhead and why don't we put a fresh coat of paint on it, modernize it, and make it a stadium that can be viable in 2030, 2040, and 2050? I think that's a pretty fly idea. I am on board with that idea. But then there's people mad about that. But then those same people also didn't go out to vote for the renovations to keep Arrowhead. This should just be an example of sometimes you just got to go with your heart and you just got to go with your gut because people are going to complain anyway. There was no way they could have made everybody happy. You didn't go out to vote, or you voted no on it, so they decided to do something else. If the Chiefs had decided to come up with a from the ground floor idea, people would have hated that idea. The Chiefs are going with Arrowhead 2.0, a more modern version, a remake, so to speak, where they took an old movie and they revised it and they rebooted it and brought it to a more modern audience. People are mad anyway when it comes to it. I don't have some of the same questions that everybody else has. I believe that the Chiefs Stadium is going to be amazing. If you've been to Allegiant, if you've been to some of these newer stadiums, you see all the modern amenities that they have, and the Chiefs are going to have their version of that. I am all for that. The Chiefs, to me, at least in that press release, seem to understand the importance that tailgating has to the culture and fabric of their organization and plan on highlighting that as an organization. They've provided a lot of the things that fans say are important to them. We got time to discuss how much it's going to cost to go to a game or a personal seat license or some of the functionality. We just saw a handful of pictures. We got 5 more years of looking at pictures and rendering and concepts and ideas of what the new stadium is going to be. But for a first official impression, I thought it was a very good first impression and incorporated a lot of the things that I think are most important to Chiefs fans, which is ultimately spec all you want.
Yeah, and I guess I have a question for you because I've seen the same comments you've seen, right? Let's say these renderings came out, but the stadium was up by the airport and it was still on the Missouri side. Do you think the comments would be similar? What percentage of these comments do you think are coming from Missourians who are just mad that it's on the state line and it's not really about the stadium?
I would say 60%, but if the stadium was in Missouri but in a different place, people would then be mad that it's not where it is now.
So then you're just complaining to complain.
Change. Yeah, people are just averse to change. I think this is a really good idea. Hopefully Arrowhead 2 is what Top Gun Maverick was to the original. It was modern but had great callbacks to the OG. I'm perfectly fine if that is the feeling that we get from Arrowhead. Whenever we walk in there for the first time and you get a chance to see it when it's done and it's functional. I'm not talking about renderings. I'm not talking about walkthroughs. They're going to let media go through and news crews. And I'm talking about that first event when you get in there, you bought a ticket and you get to see it for yourself. If you walk in there and it feels familiar, but it's a lot newer and feels new, I think that's a win. And it sounds to me that is exactly the vibe and atmosphere that they are going for. A familiar feel, a comfortable feel, but we're going to give it a complete modern twist and modern amenities that come with having a stadium that was built in 2030 as opposed to the late 1960s.
The other thing is we've already done this just with a different building, and it's the airport. I mean, remember all the conversation leading up to the new airport? We're going to lose the convenience. I can't get to my flight on time. You can still get to your flight on time, and now you can go to the bathroom. And it still feels like Kansas City because you can have Bo Ling's or local coffee place on your way to the airport. Nobody's complained about the airport in years since it's come up. This is the same thing, just a different type of building. So I think, to your point, once you walk into the new Arrowhead in 2030, 2031, whether it's SummerSlam, Chiefs, whatever it is, as long as you're comfortable and have some of those same feelings, I agree with you. This will be a dead conversation once the building opens, but we will always do this leading up to change in Kansas City because we did the same thing with the airport.
Yeah, text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, if it's going to be basically the same, why didn't they just throw a lid on the current Arrowhead? At least according to their projections, it was going to be slightly more expensive to build a completely new stadium than put a roof on a stadium that was built in the 60s. There aren't a lot of examples of stadiums doing this because you just start over and build a new stadium. Like, it's not like somebody woke up and had the idea, hey, why don't we put a dome over Soldier Field or a dome over Lambeau Field? Like, yeah, we'll do some renovations. We're not changing it to that level. Probably the only example of it would be in Miami, and it cost them $515 million just to add a roof. We're not talking about the whole stadium. I'm talking about they had a stadium. They wanted to put a roof on the top of it. It cost them $500 million just to do that. If it was going to cost that amount of money for the Chiefs to put a roof on the stadium that they have, they were going to take somebody else paying for the new version of the stadium, and that's ultimately what they got from the state of Kansas. So I don't hate that idea. I just think from a functionality standpoint, how do you make this stadium that has been open air now for almost 60 years, how do you make it look and feel like a closed air stadium, like clearly the aesthetic that they are going for? It was going to cost way too much money as opposed to just starting over and building that stadium from scratch.
It's also not about the roof. It's about the foundation and we kind of made fun of it, the cancer concrete, right? Like, the guts of the stadium were falling apart by all accounts. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the goal is to get the Final Four or SummerSlam, WrestleMania, whatever. You're not getting that in a 60-year-old building. You're getting those in new buildings. So, yeah, you could slap a roof on old Arrowhead, but that doesn't fix the internal problems that both teams are dealing with, whether it's Kauffman Stadium or Arrowhead.
It was just time. And I love Arrowhead. I love Kauffman the way that everybody else does. Trying to continue to pump life into those stadiums, it was over. They've had an amazing run. Arrowhead has provided us some of our greatest memories. Kauffman has done the exact same thing. I mean, there really is no reason to preserve Kauffman Stadium. It's not Dodger Stadium. It's not Wrigley. It's not Fenway.
They made a new Yankee Stadium. How about that?
They made a new Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
It was over for Kauffman. Arrowhead's a little different beast, but Kauffman, I don't feel any level of remorse that the Royals have decided to start over and build essentially downtown Kansas City around where the Royals are going to play. It feels like a natural evolution of a city that is clearly growing and has been growing for the last 15 years. Spec, it has been a while since I've been able to ask you a toss-up question, but I have a toss-up question for you. So I want to play this story about a young man that went to Goodwill and had one of the greatest wins that you have possibly ever seen. Now, while you were listening to this, I want you to ask yourself this question. Is this a story about a major win or a major fumble? Here's the story.
A teen bought a Lakers jacket for $3 and it just sold at an auction for almost $90,000. 19-year-old Quinn Brown spotted it at a Goodwill in Hillsboro, Oregon. It was in someone else's arms, but when that shopper changed their mind, Brown grabbed it. The jacket was worn by NBA legend and Hall of Famer Wilt Chamberlain during the 1972 NBA Finals. Sotheby's authenticated it and ran the auction where it sold for nearly $90K. Brown said he's taking a vacation to Vietnam and then saving or investing the rest. Would you have picked up the jacket?
All right. I want to get everybody's thought process on this. 913-586-7965. Is this a story about a major win, or is this a story about a major fumble? Because we have two opposite ends of the spectrum. Can you imagine going to the Goodwill and you see somebody else holding a Wilt Chamberlain? Now, you don't know if it's real. You don't know if it's authentic. It could just be Mitchell and Ness, and it's worth, $100, $200, but it's not a real, authentic, he wore it in a game in which they were playing the Philadelphia 76ers. You're kind of following that person around. You're keeping an eye on it. They then decide they don't want it, and then they put it into the bin. You now pick it up, and you have won Willy Wonka's golden ticket. Or what about the person that originally donated the $90,000 shirt? Spec, is this a story about an all-time win or a story about an all-time fumble?
All-time win. Because you're in a Goodwill and it's listed for $3. We all would have fumbled. You're telling me you would have just taken that jacket and taken it to Sotheby's? No. This is a great opportunity for the guy who, bought it for $3 and turned it into $90,000. Great job by him. I do not blame the guy at Goodwill who gave up the jacket. This is an all-time win, not an all-time fumble.
I don't want to judge this man because I don't know this man, but you just hit for 90 racks, and they're saying, hey, where are you going after this? You going to Disney World? You going to the Amalfi Coast? Where are you going? You going to see the Great Wall of China? You going to Egypt? Your answer was Vietnam? That's where you're taking
The money could last longer.
You can't go to Dubai? I mean, there's so many places that you could maybe go if somebody else paid for the vacation.
It wouldn't be my first on the list, but you know what? To each his own.
It wouldn't be top 50.
50's a stretch.
Suggestions that I would possibly go. Text line 913-586-7965. Is this the story about a ultimate come up, or is this the story about one of the greatest fumbles that you have ever seen? Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
On your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
This summer, Casey's has 89-cent medium fountain and new Frostbite by Casey's drinks. But if you don't have 89 cents, you could check your center console, dig between your couch cushions, ask Grandma for $1, or just use your credit card. 89-cent medium Frostbite by Casey's or fountain drinks at Casey's. All summer long. Restrictions may apply. See store for details.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circus Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. Dane Hughes here, and for everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circus Sports app. Then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circus Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Men, if your energy is down, your workouts aren't producing results, you're gaining stubborn weight, losing muscle, sleeping poorly, or just not feeling like yourself anymore, it may be more than just aging. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. Our low T and body composition treatments are designed to help men regain energy, improve focus, sleep better, build lean muscle, reduce unwanted fat, and restore confidence both in and out of the gym. At Heartland Men's Health, we specialize in helping men optimize their health, performance, and vitality. Using personalized medical treatments tailored to your health and goals, many men begin noticing improvements in energy, mental clarity, recovery, motivation, libido, and overall body composition within just a few weeks. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, PSA and T-test, and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
This afternoon, expect rain showers with a high of 81.
Weather brought to you by Duke's Mayo. Welcome to Duke's Mayo Country, where the mayo is so smooth and creamy, it makes every bite better. Duke's Mayo. Look for the yellow lid.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
All right, we'll get back to serious sports things coming up at the time. I now get a chance to ask Spectre questions that I have, and he's now forced to answer them because we're working together today. Now, Spec, you're a guy that I think is well-versed in a lot of different things. You and I talk TV shows, we talk movies, we talk sports, we talk gambling. You know, we have a lot of various conversations around. I get a lot of grief for some of my food opinions on this show. I don't know why, but people love to come up to me and they say, man, I love the show, but you know what? Your food takes, they stink. You know what? It happens. I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Because we just spent the last 6 weeks celebrating Kansas City on all levels. I think Kansas City is a very, very good food city. We can even remove the barbecue conversation. We do that better than anybody. But if you want a good steak, I can give you 5 to 10 restaurants where you can get an incredible steak. Tacos, people outside of Kansas City might not know it, but if you come to Kansas City, I can give you a list of a couple of places and you will leave thinking you got some really good tacos. What is a food that you think Kansas City is lacking in? You've been to a lot
Chinese
of places,
food.
A lot of cities.
Chinese food. It's very simple.
Wow.
You've been to each of the coasts. You've been to Vegas a bunch. I'm sure you've had good Chinese food. Kansas City is lacking in good Chinese food.
Where do you go get Chinese from? I will say.
I don't, because I can't eat it here.
I struggle for a spot. Now, there's some good Chinese food I've had. The best Chinese food I've had in Kansas City is New Peking in Westport. That New Peking and that honey chicken is good. It is 2 thumbs up. It is good. But it's been a while since I've had New Peking. There's a Chinese food place not that far from the station here, New Chinatown. I do like their chicken and broccoli. You see me eat a lot of chicken and broccoli from there. Where would you even get Chinese food if you were considering it? Or is that just a food that you have just crossed off the list?
It is a food that I get when I'm traveling, and it is now off my Kansas City list. I'm sure there's a good place out south maybe, or Lee Summit, Lawrence, whatever. But it's nowhere near my house. It's nowhere near where I frequent. So Chinese food is just not on the list for me in Kansas City.
Okay, somebody said pizza is definitely lacking here. I got to push back on pizza.
I disagree with that too.
I got to push back. I think we have some really, really good pizza here in Kansas City. I would put Pizza Tasio up against anybody's pizza from around the country. There's certainly
100%.
some big places, some Chicago, the New York. I'm not saying that. But if you go to Dallas, I'll put Pizza Tasio up on wherever you think the best pizza in Dallas is, and I feel like it holds its own weight. I love Artego's Pizza on 39th Street. I love their pizza. Shout out to my people over at the other place. There's some good pizza in town. I'm not letting you say Kansas City's a bad pizza city. No, I'm not letting that slide.
I would say that it's probably more quality than quantity when it comes to pizza, but I would put Pizza Tasio up against just about anybody. Buffalo State, Minsky's is still great. Other places still great. You can find a good slice and a good pie in Kansas City. I don't think you can find good Chinese food.
Okay, now I've been here before. There's no chance you've been here. There's a Chinese restaurant called Lucky Dynasty. It's over by the gates by Paseo. Probably about
I know.
a 3 to 5 minute drive from the
east
Nelsons.
of the plaza.
Yeah, it's probably a 3 to 5 minute drive. I just didn't think you ventured over there very often.
I've driven through, but I've never stopped.
Okay, because, that's a place you can get a beef on bun, you can get some Chinese food, and you can get a fake Patrick Mahomes jersey in less than a half mile.
Fireworks.
Yeah, and fireworks. So, no, you can get a lot over there. Yeah, that Chinese food is probably a good answer here. That's near the bottom. I will also stand up for Kansas City when it comes to Italian food, too. I don't think it's at the top of the list, but if you and your lady want to have a nice night out with a good bowl of pasta, good vibes, good energy, have a glass of wine while you have a chicken spadini, I can give you 4 or 5 places to get some good Italian food from.
Yeah, Italian would never even – I don't even think Italian crossed my mind when it came to this answer. Now, maybe it's Chinese food 1. What else is lacking? Maybe Thai food, but that's probably in that similar space. But it's definitely not Italian. It's definitely not pizza, and it's definitely not tacos.
Coming up at the top of the hour, I have a question to ask you guys. We have been talking a lot about depth when it comes to the Chiefs roster. Do you have more confidence in the depth that they have at pass rush, or are you more confident in the depth that they have at cornerback? We'll get to that coming up in just a bit. We've had a lot of conversations about depth. I want to see where your confidence level is as we are heading into this. There also was, so today was day 1 of Carolina's training camp, and their second round pick got hurt on a non-contact injury in the pass rush. This is what I'm worried about with Kansas City. You get one injury, one twisted ankle, and next thing you know, you got to completely change your projections at a couple of positions. So we'll get to that coming up at the top of the hour. We talked about this yesterday, but yesterday was a little bit of a weird show given the Royals day game. Here is Nick Wright. He was on First Things First.
Last year, at the midway point of the season, they were the favorites to win the Super Bowl. The odds entering week 9, the Chiefs are the favorites.
What was their record at this point?
5-3. After the tough start, there was the tackle that turned the tide, and people really believed in that.
Oh, yeah.
And they had scored 30 in 4 straight games. Mahomes was playing great to the tune of, he was the massive favorite to win the MVP. Almost even money, again, at the midway point of the season. Now, from that moment forward, they only won 1 more game. Patrick played terribly, and he blew out his knee. But that, to me, was far more about the fact that they had played 4 consecutive 20 or 21 game seasons. They had been to 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
There are always portions of the season where there is a divide in thought and a divide in feeling. I would say right now the divide with Kansas City is, do you see them as a good team or do you see them as a great team? Because you mentioned it earlier, Spec. You don't look at them as being a, quote, championship contending team. That doesn't mean that you think they have 7 wins coming, but you can be a playoff team and not be a championship contending team. I think if we are having a conversation about the Chiefs on a big picture scale as we are 24 hours away from the unofficial start of their season, that's where the divide is. There is a divide of people who still see the Chiefs as a 13-14 win team that is at the head of the table as being the best team in the AFC. There is a divide between that group of people and people that see the Chiefs as a 9-11 win team that is going to largely bounce back from where they were last year, but potentially a cut below who the actual title contenders are. I don't know what bridge we can have in that divide between now and when we actually get to see them because they have so many question marks heading into the season. They got question marks at corner. They got question marks at pass rush. They got question marks at wide receivers. You're not going to have those answered until you actually see this team play and start to get some data points, but that's where I think the divide is. There's a group of people that see them as a playoff team, but not a championship level team. There's a group of people that think that last year was a blip on the radar and all will go back to normal in the AFC and the Chiefs will fall right back into the hierarchy of being the best team in the conference. Coming up, I have a question. Where do you have the most confidence? Where do you have the most questions? Is it with the depth that they have at pass rush and the new additions that they've had? Or is it in the secondary and they have a completely revamped cornerback room? We'll do all that next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on Kansas City's only FM sports station, 96.5, The Fan.
Hi, it's Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Be a part of history by attending Chiefs training camp in St. Joseph, Missouri this summer and see the Chiefs up close. Make the trip to St. Joe something for you and your family to remember. Go to stjomo.com to view or download a free visitor guide and plan your trip. It's where the Pony Express started and Jesse James ended. That's stjomo.com for all the details to make your trip. Chiefs Training Camp in St. Joseph, Missouri will be one you'll never forget. Produced in cooperation with Visit Missouri.
When shopping for a new auto insurance policy, AAA could help you customize your coverage to fit your unique needs and budget. Trust AAA Auto Insurance to help you find the balance that works for you. See how a simple switch could make a big difference. AAA, we're always with you. Visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at Metamucil.com.
Hey, it's Brew. Between my radio show, filming content, editing videos, and trying to stay connected with family, reliable Wi-Fi isn't really optional anymore. I just need it to work. And that's why I like that with Xfinity, you get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years, guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, Xfinity makes getting connected simple with same-day Wi-Fi so you can get online in minutes. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that.
We were just talking about great local restaurants where I'm here to tell you about our friends over at Gates Barbecue with 5 locations around town. You are never too far away from that classic Gates barbecue taste. Summer is winding down, but you still are going out and grilling. You still got time at the lake. You still got birthdays to celebrate, the family coming through. So the next time that you're thinking about throwing something on the grill, make sure you have some of that classic Gates sauce and Gates seasoning. Maybe you don't feel like cooking today and you want to go out to eat. Well, stop by any one of those 5 area locations. Get yourself the classic beef on bun. Get yourself the mixed plate. Maybe you're having people over this weekend. Get yourself the small party tray, the large party tray. Maybe you are a big baller like our friend Rob Brenton who's out buying houses. You get yourself the presidential platter. No matter what your barbecue needs are, Gates Barbecue has you. Every time I wear some Gates apparel out, people always ask me, when it's cold, I wear my Gates hoodie. When it's warm, I got my Gates t-shirt on. Where'd you get that from? I got it from the website. You can get one too over at gatesbbq.com. I also want to leave you with this. The next time you're at Gates, make sure you get the burnt E mac. It's that creamy mac and cheese. They got the burnt ends chopped up and they put it on there. They sprinkle it on there like Salt Bae. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite sides in the city. It's Carrington here telling you about all-time great barbecue. And my food takes are second to none. Go stop by Gates Barbecue.
It's Telly Tire and Auto Center summer sale. Buy 4 new Continental tires and save up to $350 with instant mail-in rebates when you add installation, road hazard protection, and wheel alignment. Hurry, offer ends July 31st. Take it to Telly. Details at tellytire.com.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor, and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
Rob Sight Ford, KC's Ford volume leader and top rated on
on Google. 135th and State Line. Rob Sight Ford, your 2025 Ford volume leader. Top rated on Google with 4.8 stars and 3,000 plus reviews. The best selection, best prices, and Kansas City's best customer service. Visit Rob Sight Ford at 135th and State Line. Buy right, save big, and drive home a winner. Only at Rob Sight Ford.
Hey, it's Carter Jensen, and this is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
I was just reading a story during the commercial break that Justin Bieber is being considered for the Super Bowl halftime show coming up this season. The Super Bowl is going to return to Los Angeles, and Justin Bieber is being considered. I don't have any problem with Justin Bieber if that's what they decide to do. He's been around for a long time. He has hits. He appeals to a lot of different demographics. He's a very talented musician. If they ended up selecting Justin Bieber, I'm perfectly cool with that spec. I don't got no issues with the Biebs doing halftime.
Now, if he comes out like he did with the same energy from the World Cup performance, then I got an issue. But if he plays the hits, put some energy into it, that's a good show. I'll watch the halftime show. The World Cup halftime show with him was Buzz Killington. Awful. D-, acoustic, hard pass.
I could see him starting a little bit slower just to kind of bring you in, and then you pick it up a little bit.
That's fine.
Right. We want to see Justin Bieber doing...
Give me Baby.
We want to hear a little Baby. We want to hear a little Love Yourself. He's got hits. He certainly has the catalog to do a Super Bowl halftime show, and then that's half the battle. Half the battle is, do you have songs that the masses know and can sing along at home? There's no question that Bieber has those kind of songs. Is the performance going to be there with Bieber? I got some questions about that.
Yeah.
But having the catalog and the cachet and the pop culture appeal, Justin Bieber checks all of those boxes. I'm actually surprised that he hasn't done it before. He seems like somebody they should have asked 10 years ago if he wants to do the halftime.
He probably went a little off the rails there for a couple years.
That's
This
fair.
probably took him out of the running. So, yeah, I mean, I see why the NFL has not, but he does make sense in L.A.
So I want to go through the Chiefs depth chart here.
Just quickly, breaking news, Nick Scorton tore his ACL from the Panthers. So that was just on NFL Live. So their second-round pick from 2025, most likely out for the year with a torn ACL.
On a no-contact injury on the first day of training camp. This is what I talk about when it comes to the wheel of misfortune. Your team, every team is going to spin the wheel. Somebody is going to get injured. Somebody is going to get hurt. That's just how this game goes. And you just hope that it's not somebody that you are desperately counting on. He had a pretty good rookie season for them. He had 5 sacks last year as a second-round pick. Now, day one of the 2026 season, and he is out with a knee injury and is going to miss the entirety of the season. That perfectly leads us into the next conversation that I wanted to have, and we'll play our conversation with Phil Steele coming up in about 15 minutes or so. This week, a debate that we have had on the show is, I guess, the unease, the uncertainty that I feel towards the Chiefs roster. I don't want anyone to think that I'm down on the Chiefs heading into the year. But one thing I think I've been fairly consistent on when we have these conversations, I like numbers that I can touch, numbers that I can hold, numbers that I can quantify. And for the first time in a while, when discussing the Chiefs, they have a lot of players at key positions with no work history, with no track record, that have never done it before. So going into the season, your guess and my guess is the same. If you're telling me that Mansour Delane turns out to be an all-pro, I can't tell you that you're wrong. If he struggles coming into the season because he's a rookie, I also can't tell you that you're wrong because we just don't have any track record. We don't have any browsing history with these guys. So I want to know this because a big point for the text line has been how much depth that they have. The text line loves the depth that they have at pass rush. The text line loves the depth that they have at corner. Where are you more confident at when it comes to their depth? Is it on the D-line or is it in that cornerback room? Because if you look at their secondary, they do not have one proven starter from 2025 on their team. That was on any team. It doesn't matter if it was on the Chiefs. It doesn't matter if they acquired them in free agent. They don't have a single guy in their cornerback room that was a proven NFL starter last season. L'Jarius Sneed has been a proven starter in the past, but has had serious knee injuries these last 2 years and has only played in 6 games. Kader Kohu missed all of last season. Noel Williams was a rotational piece that you're certainly very hopeful and optimistic on, but you can't say that he was a proven starter last year for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jadon Kennedy was in college last year. Same thing with Mansour Delane. Christian Fulton could not get off the bench last year with the Kansas City Chiefs. So if we're looking at sort of known commodities, brand names, so to speak, when talking about that cornerback room, there is nobody associated in that cornerback room. It's going to be a lot of fact-finding and information hunting together when it comes to that room. Now, the DN position, a little bit differently. Karlaftis absolutely has a work history. You're wondering if there's a little bit more of a ceiling with Karlaftis than you've had, but there certainly is a track record. He is the most established player of any of the guys that we talked about so far. Outside of that, a whole lot of question marks. Felix Onudike has 1.5 sacks in his, or 3 sacks in his career. Ashton Gelati has 1.5 sacks in his career. R. Mason Thomas hasn't played yet in an NFL game. So you are very reliant on, for this team, there are about 5 to 8 guys who have never proven it at this level, haven't had an opportunity to prove it at this level, that the Chiefs are desperately counting on to help them this year and help solidify this defense. So 913-586-7965. We'll take your text on this. Rob, where do you have more confidence and trust in their depth? Is it the cornerback room and the names that they have, or is it on that defensive line and the rush ends that they have?
I'm more confident in the secondary, team history, coaching, Dave Merritt, where Brett Veach has drafted guys. So Mansour Delane, you've gone through it. The history of corners being drafted in the top 10, pretty good. Noel Williams, in the limited time we saw him last year, appeared to at least have the ability to play corner in this league. Jadon Kennedy, we'll see. L'Jarius Sneed, we'll see. Kader Kohu, we'll see. 32-year-old Chris Jones in the middle. Omar Norman Lott coming off an ACL. We know very little about Ashton Gelati. People seem to be down on Karlaftis, even if you're giving him a pass with the hand injury. I think there's more options and more numbers at the cornerback room. Should probably include Christian Fulton, even though we made a lot of jokes about him last year. Maybe he's actually healthy this year going into training camp. I'll take the secondary over the defensive line, but I think that answer could easily flip by the midway point of next season if Gelati, Thomas, Woods, Karlaftis all have different types of seasons than we're expecting.
I can admit to you guys my struggle with the Chiefs heading into the season. We all understand the importance of pass rush. That is not a position group that we are debating on if it's important or not. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in their pass rush heading into the season. I have confidence heading into that cornerback room that you mentioned. I think Noel Williams is going to be good this year. Mansour Delane was the 6th overall pick. Those guys usually don't just bust out. Maybe he doesn't hit the ceiling that you think. It's unlikely that Mansour Delane is a bust in the National Football League. You factor in the position coach that they have, the defensive coordinator that they have, the system and scheme, they will get productivity out of him. Can Sneed stay healthy? Can Kohu stay healthy? Can Christian Fulton give you anything? Because he didn't give you anything last year. I'm with you. I feel more of a certainty when it comes to their secondary than their D-line. You're asking me to trust a second-round pick, a guy in Ashton Gelati who, a third-round pick, who's fine, but what is his ceiling? What can he potentially turn into? And a guy in Felix Onudike that I'm not sure if there's a lot of defensive lines that he would make the team for. Like if Felix Onudike was on a more established room and a more established group, he's fighting for a roster spot and not being somebody that you think that their defense is really dependent on or needs coming into it. The secondary room, to me, can deal with an injury or somebody not living up to expectations. If Sneed gets hurt in training camp, that's not the end of the secondary group. If Ashton Gillotte got hurt or R. Mason Thomas got hurt, they're in a world of trouble on that defensive line. So I trust the confidence. I have more confidence in the depth that they built up in that secondary room. I just think they're really, really thin up front, and ultimately that's going to be a very serious problem.
Nate was talking about it this morning with Fesco and Dusty. Would you feel differently if Jadeveon Clowney was part of the defensive line equation?
Yeah. I mean, I want them to go pick up a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. I would feel good. This is why I was really banging the drum for them to go get Cam Jordan. I would feel radically different about this team if they had another guy on the opposite side of Karlaftis that maybe you got him splitting time with some of those young guys that you could pencil in right now, that guy will get 6 sacks. Because if you are saying, and I'm not even talking about the defensive tackle, this is a different conversation, but let's say that you think that Karlaftis is going to get 9.5 sacks this season. How many sacks do you think Gillotte gets? How many sacks do you think FAU gets? R. Mason Thomas? I think it can be a lot of 3s, a lot of 2s, a lot of 1.5s. And ultimately, that's just not going to be enough when you're going up against the quarterbacks that they got to go up against this year and the teams they got to go up against.
If they sign Jadeveon Clowney, FAU's not making the team, right? Like, the numbers just don't match up. Now, I know you need 4 defensive ends, and it's R. Mason Thomas, it's Karlaftis, it's Clowney, whatever, but I don't think FAU's making this. I don't think that's a given. Now, maybe it is if they don't change anything on the roster because you need a certain number of bodies to that position, but if Jadeveon Clowney gets added, FAU is not making the 2025 or 2026 Chiefs.
Yeah, and I guess at this point, I don't know why I would think they're bringing in Clowney. Like, I'm with you from an outside looking in. Clowney's been available every season for the last 6 years. They've never even brought him into a visit. Yeah, they've never shown an interest in Clowney.
And Nate was talking about this morning, so it's more credit to him. This is not necessarily my take, but after all these years in the league, Jadeveon Clowney does not want to go to St. Joe and spend a month in the dorms. Like, I think it's entirely feasible that Jadeveon Clowney is a middle of August, you're back in Kansas City, you've played a preseason game, now we're going to bring you in. Like, at 32 years old, Jadeveon Clowney does not want to do 2-a-days and walkthroughs, whether it's in St. Joe or another organization. I'll give them another month until Jadeveon Clowney's making a decision.
You know we love a good basketball analogy on this show. Someone on the text line says, CDOT, they're only thin up front if you don't think they're getting anything from the second-year guys. Maybe my fear and like a good way of explaining it is, to me, the Chiefs have a bunch of guys on their D-line that you think can get 6 to 8 points. I don't know who on their defensive line can go get you 15 points. I'm not asking you to go get me 20 or 30. I'm asking who on their defensive line in terms of getting after the other team's quarterback do you think can consistently be a 15-point-per-game scorer? I just don't know if they have that guy. Where on their secondary, I think they got a couple of those guys. I think they got 1 or 2 of those possible options that could end up being that guy. I don't know if they got that guy, period, when it comes to up front. And maybe this is me preemptively complaining about this, but I just feel very strongly it is going to be week 5 of the NFL season, and the answer is going to be right there in front of us the whole time. Man, why didn't they do more in terms of getting an established pass rush on the outside, somebody opposite of Karlaftis? This problem was easy to spot from the very beginning, and they relied heavily on draft picks to try to solve a problem that you need a little bit more instant punch for your defensive line. Coming up on the other side, we'll transition and talk a little bit of college football with Phil Steele. We'll do that next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive.
My man Carrington
On Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief.
1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The Sherwin-Williams Summer Sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off our newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Odyssey Sports is presented by ZipRecruiter. Find out why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it free at ZipRecruiter.com/team.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Here's a World Soccer Championship Team Spotlight, brought to you by the first ever Infiniti QX65 and by Lowe's. Members get more at Lowe's.
Spain, world champions once again. This is a golden generation announcing itself on the sport's biggest stage. Spain's next wave has already delivered a title, and there may be more to come. World champions, Spain reigns over the globe once again.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
And a multi-car crash now working down on 35. It's southbound just past Sunflower. Right lane is blocked. And near Raytown, that's a stall. Right lane is blocked, though. 435 northbound just before Gregory. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Chiefs football.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but college football is actually my favorite sport. If you were asking me what sport do I enjoy following the most, do I enjoy sitting down on the couch on a Saturday with all of the different games, with all of the debates, with all of the controversy, I love college football. I understand some of you don't love college football the way that I love college football, but I am excited about this season. We have so many great quarterbacks, so many great teams, so many great storylines, so many controversies. I mean, Lane Kiffin is going back to Ole Miss this season. I cannot wait for it. As we celebrate the start of the football season, SEC Media Days Chiefs training camp gets going starting tomorrow. Earlier today, I got a chance to catch up with Phil Steele. There is not a single human being alive that knows more about college football than Phil Steele. At some point, you picked up his magazine. Phil, it's always great to talk football with you.
Always a pleasure being on with you, Carrington. Appreciate you having me on each and every one of these years.
Absolutely. So why don't we start here? Let's start national, and then we'll transition to the Big 12, and we'll transition local. One of the things that excites me the most about this upcoming college football season is just the amount of good quarterbacks that we have, not just future NFL prospects, but good college quarterbacks. There's about 12 to 15 very high-level quarterbacks sprinkled around the country.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, I live in Cleveland, so we're looking for a quarterback next year. It's a good year to be doing that. But you take a look at last year. You had some first-year starting quarterbacks, guys like Julian Sayin, Drew Mestamaker, C.J. Carr. All these guys were in their first year as a starter, and now they're sophomores. How about the D2 athlete coming up, Trinidad Chambliss, and what a postseason he had, and bring that with veteran guys. And I think it's going to be a tremendous year quarterback-wise. And, one other thing I'll throw out there real quick about why it's going to be a better year in the FBS this year is no second spring portal window. Every coach I talked to when we go over the roster, they would say that we felt like more of a team this spring because we could coach them hard. We could list a guy third string and know he wasn't going to leave. The players could bond together better knowing their friend wasn't going to leave. And the team you took into the spring was the team you were come out of the spring. I think that's going to have us see a better brand of football this year.
Yeah, I'm expecting that as well. I'm excited about the continuity that we have inside the sport. Arch Manning is somebody that's certainly going to dictate a lot of conversations. He came in with so much hype last year. He struggled in that early game against Ohio State, and I feel the temperature kind of cooled on him a little bit. How do you feel about him coming into this season? How do you feel about Texas coming into this season?
Bullish on both. When you take a look at Arch Manning last year, he had one returning starter on the offensive line. And he also had a running back core where his top running back only had 597 yards. Well, one thing we saw from Arch was improvement. You look at him at the start of the year, shaky. We look at him at the end of the year, dynamic. And I think we're going to see the dynamic Arch full season this year. Plus, he's got a better supporting cast. The offensive line's a more veteran unit. I think left tackle Trevor Gooseby is a guy that's got NFL caliber talent, and they have much more experienced up front. And then the running back core, they had in a 1,000-yard rusher from NC State and Hollywood Smothers, a 1,000-yard rusher from Arizona State and Raleek Brown. Ryan Wingo, their top receivers back, and they bring in a Cam Coleman from Auburn, one of the top guys in the country. So a much better supporting cast, got better as the season went on. Another year of improvement. He's clearly one of the top QBs in the country, and I've got Texas listed as my number 3 offense in the country. Defensively, I rate them number 5. They got guys like Colin Simmons back at defensive end, Hero Canoe at defensive tackle. They lose their star linebacker from last year in Anthony Hill, but replace him with Rasheem Biles, an All-American linebacker. They do have a schedule where they play Oklahoma on the road, LSU on the road, and Texas A&M on the road. But this is a team clearly one of the top teams in the country, and I expect them not only to make the playoff, but have a great shot of advancing far.
Who do you have as the favorite coming into the year in the SEC? Is it Georgia or Texas?
I have them listed right at the top, tied for first, but I picked Georgia last year, and I'm going Georgia again this year. Their defense goes 3 deep. I really like Gunnar Stockton as well. He's a guy that can run the football, was great on fourth down, great in the fourth quarter last year. They've got one of the top running back cores in the country with Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens, and Dwight Phillips. You look at that offensive line, should be one of the best offensive lines in the country. Schedule-wise, they do have to play Bama on the road and Ole Miss on the road. One of the reasons I'm tied with Georgia, they might slip up one of those games. But I think Georgia's the best team in the SEC this year.
Right now, we're talking to Phil Steele, legendary college football analyst, getting you ready for the start of the season. Let's transition from the SEC to the Big Ten. They feel like the bullies on the block the last couple of seasons, winning these national championships. I imagine you have Ohio State winning the Big Ten. Do you see Indiana and Oregon as legitimate threats to maybe take away that crown?
Yeah, such legitimate threats that I list all 3 tied for first. It was tough to come away with one. Start with Ohio State. Best offense in the country. Julian Sands back, a Heisman candidate, 1,000-yard rusher Bo Jackson, plus a deep running back core. The receiving core naturally best in the country, led by Jeremiah Smith. And then the offensive line, I thought last year was above average. This year it borders on outstanding. I rated the number 2 offensive line in the country. And while they lose a lot of talent off the defense, keep in mind last year they had lost a number 1, a number 2, and a number 5 draft pick off the D-line. This year they only lose a number 2 and a number 6. The linebacking core is a question mark, but this is a talented Ohio State team. One thing of concern, they do play Texas, Iowa, Indiana, USC, and Nebraska all on the road. Schedule's a lot tougher this year. Indiana, Kurt Cignetti's doing a fantastic job there, and he's going to have another national title contender this year. And if you have questions at quarterback, I'll tell you, Kurt Cignetti always develops a top-notch QB. Go back to my first conversation with him at James Madison when they were moving up from FCS to FBS, and they lost their all-conference quarterback. They had no experience at QB. I'm like, Coach, you're going to struggle a little, especially with the tougher competition. He's like, Phil, I've had a first-team all-conference quarterback every year I've been a coach. We'll have one this year, and guess what? They did. So I think he's going to do wonders with Josh Hoover, who, by the way, he said is in about the same spot Mendoza was coming out of spring last year. Great supporting cast with 3 offensive linemen back. Charlie Becker's back at receiver. We saw him emerge last year, and they had Nick Marsh from Michigan State. The defense is solid, and the only game I don't have them favored in this year is Ohio State at home, October 17th. I've got that game pick 'em, so watch out for Indiana. And then finally, Oregon. Carrington, you probably thought that Dante Moore was going to be in the NFL this year like I did, and here he turns down the NFL, opts to return. And he's got a solid offensive line. His receiving core was banged up last year, much better this season with Evan Stewart and DeCorian Moore back. And defensively, all 4 guys return on the D-line. They do have to play Ohio State and USC on the road, but I think Oregon's a legitimate threat as well.
Phil, I actually thought that Dante Moore was going to come back, and it goes to the conversation that we had to begin. Now that these quarterbacks are making money with NIL and they're making millions of dollars to stay, we've seen enough NFL evidence, hey, get as much real game experience that you can at the college level, and then when you hit the ground running in the NFL, you're better positioned long term. Like, I look at Oregon now, hey, if it's not going to happen for you guys to win a national championship, when is it going to happen? You get Dante Moore. I think they have the best quarterback in college football heading into the season. I love their head coach in Dan Lanning. They've got all the talent in the world. Like, I see this maybe putting more pressure on Oregon to finally get over the hump and finally win a national championship. They've been knocking on the door these last 10 years or so. They eventually got to win one of these.
Yeah, good call there, Carrington. And, when you look at Oregon, 2 years ago they lost in the first round of the playoffs, but they had the bye week to overcome. And, I was talking to Coach McGuire at Texas Tech, and one of his main concerns this offseason was preparing for the bye week. What do we have to do differently so we can play better after the bye? And then, as we know, last year Oregon not only beat James Madison, but then they shut out Texas Tech. Texas Tech was off a bye, and then they lost to Indiana. So, yeah, they made those steps in the playoff. This could be the year. And wouldn't it be something, Carrington, if they were the 4th different Big Ten team to win a national title in 4 years? I don't think that's ever been done before by any conference.
Right now, we're talking to Phil Steele, legendary college football commentator, getting you ready for the start of the college football season. Let's go outside of those 2 conferences. Let's talk about the Big 12, and we'll narrow it down to the 3 local schools with Kansas, Missouri, and K-State. It feels like Texas Tech is the odds-on favorite to win this. Can you see anybody else challenging Texas Tech in the Big 12?
Yeah, I can. And first of all, a lot of folks have asked, and I'll get it out of the way quickly, is that when I wrote the magazine, I expected Brandon Sorsby not to play this year. I was about 90% sure they weren't going to let him play. It surprised me after the magazine went to the press, they announced he was going to play. I thought I had to adjust my power ratings, but now that he's not playing, I still think Texas Tech's the best. They've got a dream schedule. You look at their 5 road games, all winnable. I've got them 7-point favorite in every game. But the teams that could contend, the main one I think is BYU. And I've gone over the roster with Kalani Sitake for 11 straight years now. I feel this is his best team. They are massive on the offensive line, massive in the defensive front 7. Yes, they lose a player like Jack Kelly at linebacker, but replace him with Cade Lavi from Cal. Now they have a veteran quarterback in Bear Bachmeier, another one of those first-year quarterbacks last year. This guy wasn't even in for the spring last year. He came in the fall and did tremendously well. And isn't it fun watching number 47 run that offense? And then they also return L.J. Martin, who's an NFL caliber running back. So this is a loaded BYU team. They do not play Texas Tech during the regular season. So I think they have a great shot at getting back there and playing Texas Tech. And I think they would have a shot at beating Texas Tech. So I think BYU would be my top threat to Tech this year.
Let's talk about Kansas State. I feel like so much of this season comes down to Avery Johnson, and is he ready to take that next step? He came into college with a lot of hype, a lot of admiration. It hasn't maybe necessarily gone to the ceiling that people think. You combine him now with Colin Klein, his former offensive coordinator. I think their schedule's pretty favorable. I don't think K-State's going to win the Big 12 this year, but I could see them bouncing back to being a 9-10 win program like they've been for the last 15 years.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. And as you mentioned, back in 2023, Avery Johnson looked great without Colin Klein as his coordinator. Colin Klein is back and had great things to say about him. He recruited him. He knows that he knew he could be special then. He's got the ability to process, and he's developed the offense to have him thrive. And then bring a guy back like Joe Jackson at running back. And then you have to take a look a little bit at the schedule in the Big 12. For Kansas State, and they avoid a lot of the big boys. They do not play Texas Tech. They do not play BYU this year, so that's a couple of big pluses there. They get some of the tougher teams at home. I think K-State, I'm going to agree with your assessment. I don't think they're right at the top as a contender, but should have a very good year this year.
Phil, as a college football playoff sleeper team, do you think there is one in the Big 12? You mentioned Texas Tech. That's not really a league that's going to get 3 or 4 teams in the same way that we're talking about with the SEC and the Big 10. If you found out right now that the Big 12 got multiple teams in the college football playoff alongside Texas Tech, who do you think that would be?
BYU, as I mentioned. And then I think the other 3 teams that I would have challenged for that spot, Utah, the main thing is going to be getting offensive line play. They lost a lot off that offensive line, but Morgan Scalley knows the team inside and out. They've got a dynamic quarterback combo in Devin Dampier and Bert Ficklin. Houston, they return Connor Wegman at QB. They add in Mekhi Hughes, who had a 1,000-yard year for Willie Fritz back at Tulane, 2,000-yard years at Tulane, one under Fritz. And they made big-time strides last year in their experience this year. And then watch TCU. They're sort of under the radar, but I like their quarterback, Jaden Craig. Jaden Craig is a guy who is got the size. He's 6'3", 230. Probably would have been a 5th-round draft pick this year. He's got experience. He started those years at Harvard and now comes into the system. I think Jaden Craig's going to have a heck of a year for TCU. They're going to have to win a couple of key road games, but I think they've got a shot at contending as well.
Phil, looking at Kansas, they seem like a very simple pass or fail to me. Do you make a bowl game or do you not make a bowl game? If they make a bowl game, it's business as usual, and Lance Leipold has done a good job helping turn that program around. They got a difficult decision if they finish 5 or 7 and miss another bowl game.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Carrington, they have got a ridiculous schedule. Every year, I always, on PhilSteele.com, go through a thing of who plays the toughest schedule, who plays the easiest schedule. And for teams that play a 9-game schedule, leagues that play a 9-game schedule, I always say, hey, this one's got 5 home games, this one's got 5 road games. Sometimes it turns out to be 4-4-1. I've never seen a team that has 6 road games, basically, because they have 5 Big 12 road games, and one of their home games, Arizona State's in London. So they actually only have 3 Big 12 home games. They have 6 of them on the road. That's a ridiculous schedule. I haven't seen that before. I think the key to Kansas this season is early on. They host Missouri and then the Arizona State game. If they come out of there 2-0, I think they will make a bowl game this year. The back end of the schedule is difficult. I think trips at West Virginia, at Oklahoma State, at Kansas State, at Utah, all very tough. But who the heck is the schedule maker that's making them play only 3 home games out of 9 this year?
Phil, who do you think the starting quarterback for them is going to be? Because a lot of people think it could be Cole Ballard. They could go in a completely different direction. That shapes a lot of how people feel about KU. Is you've had Jalen Daniels the last few years where, albeit with injuries, you felt like you knew what you had at quarterback. KU is going in this year with a little bit of a head-scratcher at QB.
Yeah, Cole Ballard's a guy that is a leader. He's composed. He's got a strong arm, and he's a decent runner and manages the game well. Isaiah Marshall is a guy that's extremely athletic. In fact, Coach Leipold said he reminds him of Devin Dampier at Utah, and that'd be a pretty electric fit to the offense. And then the third string, and a guy maybe not contending for a starting job, but get this guy in the field somewhere, maybe the fastest quarterback, Chase Jenkins. I went with Ballard as the starting quarterback this year. I was impressed with what he's done when he's been put on the field. I liked his start in 2023 that he had. So I went with Ballard, but it could be either he or Marshall.
Let's talk about the Missouri Tigers. Have you found it tough to prognosticate what this Missouri team can do with the uncertainty around Ahmad Hardy as we head into the year?
Yeah, a little bit, because Hardy is a big-time threat. Although I'll say this, Jamal Roberts is a big-time threat at running back as well. In fact, I watch 12 games at a time, Carrington. There's times I'm watching the Missouri game like on TV number 9, and I'll see a big run and just assume that's Hardy making the run, and then I look a little bit closer, and no, it's number 20. It's Jamal Roberts making the same type of tackle-breaking run. Love both those guys. They've got good backups as well. I think Hardy will be 100% by, let's say, at least week 2, week 3. My biggest question mark with Missouri might be on the defensive side of the ball. Last year, they had one of the most veteran defenses out there. They've got talent, and they've got a really good coordinator in Corey Batoon, but they do lose 12 of of the top 15 defenders from last year. Only 2 of them return, so it's sort of a rebuilt defense, but there is plenty of talent over there. And then, of course, when you're looking at Missouri, the schedule. Missouri's had a favorable, I'm not going to say soft, there is no soft SEC schedule, but a favorable SEC schedule the last 2 years. This year they play the second toughest SEC schedule, and that's going to make it tough to improve on last year's 8-win total.
Yeah, I feel Missouri is sort of in that place where every year you go into it knowing what to expect. The floor is probably 7 wins at this point with Mizzou. The ceiling's probably around 10, but I think we've seen there's a little bit of a gap between your true contenders in the SEC. We're mentioning Georgia and Texas and Alabama and those programs, and where Missouri sits maybe comfortably in that 5 to 7 role in the SEC. Yeah,
I would agree with that. I really have not put Missouri into the top of the SEC, but there's no way would they be at the bottom of the SEC either.
That is Phil Steele. Actually, you know what, Phil, before I get you out of here, I guess we'll go with how many teams would you consider to be locks for the college football playoff? If you had to throw out a couple of, there's going to be 1 or 2 teams that come out of nowhere and surprise you, and we look up and we're debating about them narrowly getting into the playoffs. How many teams would you consider to be locks? Who are some potential playoff sleepers?
That's a great question. I'm going to go with 8 locks this year, and it would be Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Indiana, Oregon, Miami, and Texas Tech. All those are locks. Now, if you're looking for some sleepers, teams that won't be in the preseason top 10 at the start of the year, but could finish in the preseason or in the final AP top 10, one of them is going to surprise you a little. It's my number 1 surprise team, and it's going to surprise you that they're even on this list because of the brand name, but it's Alabama. And I think if you watched Alabama at the end of last year, you're like, oh, my goodness, they got blown out by Georgia. Oh, they got blown out by Indiana. They lose their quarterback. They couldn't run the football. There's nothing to like about Alabama. In fact, I saw one place picked them 7th in the SEC. But what I like about Alabama, it's Kalen DeBoer's 3rd year. Last year, he had them the number 1 seed in the SEC championship game. They've got 2 really good quarterbacks. I think that Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer will develop them. Very solid defense and a schedule that sets up pretty well. They do have to play Georgia, but they get them at home, and they beat them on the road in the regular season last year. They play at LSU and at Tennessee, but I think both those games are winnable. I think Alabama makes the playoff this year despite not being in the preseason top 10. And another thing to throw at you, and if one of those 3 locks that I mentioned out of the Big Ten, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, doesn't make it, it's because USC beat them. And when I look at USC, Lincoln Riley told me it's his best defense he's had in his 5 years. They add in Gary Patterson as the defensive coordinator offensively. They have my number 5 rated offensive line, a loaded backfield, Jade Mayava at quarterback. They get Oregon at home. They get Ohio State at home. Pull an upset there. Remember, had they beaten Oregon on the road last year in Autzen Stadium, they would have made the playoff. Now they get Oregon at home, and they gave them a good game last year. USC could be a surprise team. And then, as we talked about, BYU would be that other team that would mention my surprise teams.
This season, to me, it's either a quarterback wins the Heisman Trophy or Jeremiah Smith wins Heisman Trophy. I can't
Yep.
see another run. I can't see a running back winning it this year. I can't see another wide receiver. There's so many quarterbacks, but I think most people look at Jeremiah Smith to be the best player in college football. Is it going to be a quarterback this year, or is Ohio State's wide receiver going to finish out a pretty incredible college career by winning the Heisman Trophy?
I'm going to go with a quarterback just because I'll take the field in that case. It's always tough to win the Heisman Trophy, and who knows, he may be splitting votes with Julian Sand at the end of the year. So that's a good assessment, though, Carrington. You're always spot on that.
That is Phil Steele joining us on the show today, college football extraordinaire. Please go pick up the magazine. Phil, how can people get the magazine? Where should they go get the magazine?
I appreciate that, Carrington. It's only available at 2 brick-and-mortar stores, Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. So those are the only 2 places. Don't drive around to your Walmarts or other places out there. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million are the only 2 brick-and-mortar stores to pick up the magazine. It's 376 pages. All 138 teams get 2 full pages on them. Now, if you don't see it at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or you don't have one in your area, you can go online to philsteele.com. And when you go there, I'm going to charge you a shipping charge. Cost to ship things, but we give you the digital magazine for free, and the digital magazine is actually updated all the way through the month of September. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or philsteele.com.
That is Phil Steele joining us on the show today. Phil, great stuff. I know you probably got 1,000 of these a day, but we always love talking college football with you. Enjoy the season.
Thank you, Carrington. Always a lot of fun talking football with you, my friend.
Absolutely. That's just talking to Phil Steele lets me know that we're almost home. You know, we're less than a month away from the start of the college football season. Now, it might be Nebraska and Hawaii on a Thursday on CBS Sports Network, but you know what? It's college football all the same. I am happy that we are almost there. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Rob is out for the rest of the week. The boss man, Steven Spector, is in. We're learning a little bit more about him as the show continues. We'll keep on with that journey next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Your home for all things Chiefs football and Royals baseball.
I'm a professional complainer.
Is The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan.
Men, when addressing the problem of erectile dysfunction, you want the right treatment for your specific medical situation because every case is different, and finding the right treatment can mean the difference between just an okay experience and an amazing one. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and at our practices, we offer the full range of ED treatment protocols and can even combine therapies to help make those intimate moments special both for you and your partner. At Heartland Men's Health, we take great pride in providing excellent care and treatment options for ED. Our medical providers specialize in men's sexual health and understand that no 2 cases are alike, which means you'll get the right treatment for you based on sound medical evaluation and appropriate applications of medical therapies. Plus, we offer treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most men, you'll get your sex life back. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99. It includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Conservative, family man, author of The Bald Plan to Reduce Property Taxes. Listen to Scott Schwab.
Property taxes are killing Kansans, but one day it hit me. BALD.
BALD stands for Better Affordable Living by Decreasing Property Taxes. And it's the only detailed plan. Schwab's BALD Plan means voter approval for property tax hikes, refunds for unfair assessments, and tax relief for seniors and working families. Listen to Scott Schwab.
I focus on reducing taxes for Kansans. You should keep more. My BALD Plan makes sure of it. When I'm governor, we'll get it done.
Finally, a governor with a good head on his shoulders. Author of The Bald Plan to Decrease Property Taxes. Conservative Republican Scott Schwab for governor. Visit scottschwab.com/bald to learn more. Paid for by Schwab for Governor, Jim Felter, Treasurer.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, rock star. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In a world parched for excitement, Twisted Tea's your refreshing thrill ride of flavor. The hard iced tea that's smooth, made with real brewed tea and 5% alcohol. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If Twisted Tea was your best friend, they'd start a dance party in the supermarket that turns into a pool party at your place, and you don't even own a pool. Twisted Tea is smooth, refreshing, and always fun. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Even on weekends and holidays, Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric shows up. Expect reliable HVAC plumbing or electric service. Plus, enjoy $500 off a new HVAC system this summer. Schedule your free consultation at anthonyphce.com.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
And a multi-car crash now working down on 35. It's southbound just past Sunflower. Right lane is blocked near Raytown. That's a stall. Right lane is blocked, though. 435 northbound just before Gregory. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here. We'll reset things coming up at the top of the hour. We'll talk about Salvador Perez. We'll talk about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill says that he does not have power in his left leg. That is not good when playing football is your career. Speck is here today. Rob is out for the rest of the week. Rob is moving into a new home, so he's getting all of his affairs in order before they move in. Certainly understandable. Get all that stuff done in the summer when it's not football season. Week 1 against the Broncos, we need you here. So I'm happy that Rob is off today, taking care of what he needs to take care of. Someone on the text line says, "It's great to hear Speck again. I think he needs more segments. Maybe a weekly dose of Speck's insight. I know he's the boss, but maybe you can talk him into coming on the show more often." This is what I don't like about the text line. How I know sometimes y'all fake. When Speck isn't here, you guys complain about the commercials. I ain't heard a peep on the text line about the commercials. Now, y'all blame me for the commercials. And I tell you, if my voice is not on it, I don't got nothing to do with it. That's on anybody else. I can only control what I read. I can't control anything else. I ain't heard one complaint. If Speck wasn't here, text line, be mad. Why are you playing this? That's how y'all act when he not here. I'll never forget. We had FAU come in studio. He was reading the text line. The text line was, "Hey, big dog, we believe in you." That ain't how y'all talk when he not here.
Nope.
It's fake.
Game's a game.
That's what it is.
It wasn't even my mom or dad who texted that in. I appreciate you, 913.
I have 3 movies that I would love for them to be remade.
Okay.
Today is the Throwback Thursday. I have 3 movies that tomorrow, if they announced that they were doing a remake, I'd be thrilled about. These are my movies. I'm going to start on the light end. There were a handful of movies that we all saw as a kid at least 25 times. Little Rascals was one of those movies. I saw that movie a million times. Had it on VHS. I wore the tape out. Little Giants. Speck, when you and I were young pups coming up, young sports fans, we had a collection of sports movies that were geared directly towards us. Little Giants, the Big Green, Heavyweights, Angels in the Outfield, Little Big League, Rookie of the Year. These were fun sports titles directed towards a young sports fan, and you could watch with your family. When did we stop making this? People stop having families?
We get the Steph Curry GOAT animation movie now instead of the real life action.
We need a good Little Giants. Can you imagine today we get a nice modern story about a young football team, a bunch of ragtag kids that couldn't make the big time varsity, and all of a sudden, next thing you know what? That team's not that good. All the Little Giants is just a repurposing of the Bad News Bears. And Icebox, the girl, comes in and saves the day for the team. I would love a direct-to-streamer, Netflix, Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime. I would love a new version of Little Giants.
Can I make that movie but with a different sport for a second?
Okay.
What if we took the Little Giants, moved it to a basketball movie, and it was like a rec team goes on the AAU circuit.
Okay.
In
I
like
that.
In like sixth grade. So you had the AAU circuit teams with the Nike deals and the arm sleeves, and then you got the group that just has the hand-me-down basketball shoes and the YMCA jerseys.
Okay. I can live
Little
with that.
Giants, but with football and or basketball and AAU.
Yeah, I can live with that. I got two more. Now, these are more serious. I love the movie The Program. We don't have enough college football movies. We've got enough pro football movies, even high school movies. We never got a movie that tried to depict a college football team. Now, there's some huge plot holes in this movie. Joe Kane started the season as the Heisman Trophy favorite. He started the season. They get to the midway point of the season. They lose to Michigan. He has a drinking problem. He goes to rehab and then comes back for the season finale and the bowl game. That is not how this story would end. You don't join rehab in week 7 and then think that you're finishing the season on the football field.
Only Brendan Sorsby thinks that.
Yeah, that's not how this works. He had a little bit of Jeff George, a little bit of Johnny Manziel, definitely had daddy issues watching the movie The Program. You had the starting running back and the backup running back fighting over a girl. You had Micah Parsons at linebacker. Latimer should have been in jail. He was crazy. He shouldn't have been talking to the coach. He should have been talking to Benson and Stabler. He was unstable. Spec, do you think that injury with Alvin Mack would have ended his career? He gets the knee injury and they tell him he can't play football anymore. Was tearing your ACL in 1993? Yes. That was the end. You could never play football again.
Yeah, Boobie Miles. Boobie Miles never came back.
Boobie would be a better running back now if he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
They'd put some bionic muscle in his knee and he would have gone off to Texas A&M and been an absolute star.
Yeah, it's Bijan Robinson. I don't think The Program's a good movie. Is that wrong? I think that's one of the most overrated sports movies in our culture. Is it a top 5 football movie, Carrington?
To me, yeah, probably not to the masses, no.
Remember the Titans. Yeah.
No, it's not better than that.
Rudy.
I'd rather watch The Program than watch Rudy.
Friday Night Lights.
I love Friday Night Lights. That's my favorite non-Rocky sports movie.
Varsity Blues.
I like Varsity Blues more than The Program.
Okay, so right now, and I've only named...
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
4.
I like Varsity Blues more. But just Varsity Blues, I can't explain it. It's something about Mox, and I love it.
Blindside? Blindside or Program?
The Blindside is better than The Program. So it's not top 5. Now that we're having the conversation. I tell you this, we've talked about this off there. We never talked about it on the air. Some people just look really good on television and really good on the movie screen. When you were introduced to Paul Walker as Lance Harbor in Varsity Blues, no person has ever looked like a movie star more than Paul Walker did in that moment.
When Billy Bob comes to pick him up in his front yard?
When Billy Bob comes to pick him up and they play that music and he opens that screen door and you're looking at him, he looks like a star quarterback for a team. We never know what would have happened with Lance Harbor. Lance Harbor was about to be Peyton Manning is who he was about to be.
All right, I got a toss up for you. I'm going to turn around on you for a second. Speaking of remakes, would you rather have had a sequel to Lance Harbor's life or Boobie Miles' life?
Boobie Miles. Boobie Miles. His life can go in so many different directions. The Lance Harbor story, he probably goes on to be an offensive coordinator somewhere. He probably goes on to be a coach somewhere. He gets
But he never left West Canaan.
For sure. He gets an opportunity, and he goes on. In 5 years, he comes back as the prodigal son to be the head coach at West Canaan, and he goes on to have a 25-year run. I don't know where Boobie Miles' life can end. Boobie can barely read. That's what I'm saying. The Boobie Miles story of what happened to Boobie is a very interesting movie.
Same injury. All of a sudden, life's over.
Yeah, it's over. You can't.
Crazy.
We were supposed to go to the pros. Now we can't play football anymore.
It's one scene I will not watch.
I would love. Now, this actually, I wouldn't even want it to be a movie because I don't know if they could do it justice. Give me a limited series of Blue Chips. In an NIL, pay-for-play kind of world, think about the story. They illegally recruited all of those kids. They tried to buy Shaq. Shaq didn't even want it. Ricky Rowe, is 6'8", could put the ball on the floor, could get up and down the court, could knock down shots. They drop off $100,000. They also give him a nice tractor for
John
his
Deere.
family. Yeah. Blue Chips. If they made an 8-episode Blue Chips, I'm here for it.
I'd rather do He Got Game limited episodes.
Have you heard my He Got Game remake idea?
No.
It's got to be She Got Game, where his sister Mary now grows up, and now she goes through the same system that Jesus and Jake went through. Jake gets out, and now Mary is trying to infiltrate the world of women's basketball. She Got Game. Or I could live with them just doing a complete new remake and having John Morant be Jesus Shuttlesworth. I could live with that.
I don't think it works outside of New York City, though.
I'm
the
with
New
you.
York City Guard is just a legendary species, right? I don't know where John Morant grew up, but it's not New York. It's not Coney Island. I don't need the John Morant story.
That's just my idea. She Got Game.
I'll pass on that.
I'd be all for it. Okay, well, the window's probably closed now for a
I'd
remake.
be more interested in like a Juju Watkins story.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. We kind of centered this around L.A., but more than anything, we got to get back to making sports movies for the kids. Back in the 90s, we made them for the kids. Give us your 8-year-old growing sports fan. He deserves his own Little Giants.
I agree.
He deserves his own The Big Green. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get back to the Chiefs and talk about them as training camp starts tomorrow. That's coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with prominent Mizzou fan Carrington Harrison.
I support Kansas. I want Kansas to win.
On 96.5, The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by SWL Injury Law, the Car Crash Kings. It's what they do. Visit SWLinjurylaw.com.
And a multi-car crash now working down on 35. It's southbound just past Sunflower. Right lane is blocked in your Raytown. That's a stall. Right lane is blocked, though. 435 northbound just before Gregory. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deal on airport parking.
Sun, sand, and stress-free travel start with Park & Go, the best deal on airport parking. Keep your car cool with all covered parking and enjoy fast shuttles right to the terminal. Reserve your spot now at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family-owned, customer approved.
When it comes to my policy, Farmers gives it to me straight, so there's no surprises.
It's your coverage. You should never be confused.
You hear that? An insurance provider with a conscience.
We're a choir, but yes, we have that too.
Straightforward coverage you can literally understand. That's what you get when
you have Farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Learn more at farmers.com. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or Affiliate. Products not available in every state.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief.
1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The Sherwin-Williams Summer Sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off our newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. Look, let's be real for a second. When it comes to performance, good just isn't good enough, just like the teams that we cheer for, and that's exactly why Blue Chew raised the bar for you. Introducing Blue Chew Gold, the revolutionary 4-in-1 upgrade that targets both your brain and your body. Blue Chew Gold dissolves right under your tongue and starts working in as little as 15 minutes, so there's less waiting, more confidence, and a whole new level of readiness. And I've told you before, confidence is key. You know it the same as I do. Get started today at BlueChew.com and see why millions of men trust Blue Chew. Now, with a gold standard upgrade that's changing the game for good. It's not just about function anymore. It's about total performance, both physical and mental. They're turning bedroom performance into an Olympic sport, so go for gold. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. There's a special deal for you there. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code KFNZ. That's promo code KFNZ. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety info.
It's the summer sales event at Robside Ford. Your chance to upgrade without the stress. Robside joins me now. Rob, what's the offer?
0% financing, $0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days on nearly the entire Ford lineup.
That's a serious summer deal.
Sure is. And unlike your brisket last weekend, these deals aren't dry.
Okay, that's fair. These savings are definitely juicy.
And we're backing it up with 2 years of complimentary maintenance, a non-commissioned sales team, and top trade-in values.
No pressure, no gimmicks at Robside Ford. The way car buying should be.
We're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer, 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 Google reviews, and a better experience from start to finish.
So skip the smoke and the dry meat. This summer, start at Robside Ford.
135th and State Line or ROBSIGHC.com. 0% financing, $0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 2 years of complimentary maintenance.
Robside Ford, buy right, drive happy. And next time, maybe stick to potato salad.
This summer, Casey's has 89-cent medium fountain and new Frostbite by Casey's drinks. But if you don't have 89 cents, you could check your center console, dig between your couch cushions, ask Grandma for $1, or just use your credit card. 89-cent medium Frostbite by Casey's or fountain drinks at Casey's all summer long. Restrictions may apply. See store for details.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Tonight, cloudy, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, low 68.
Weather brought to you by Capital One. Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank guide. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Car wreck? Get the money you deserve. Mike's got this.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this.
816-888-7500.
Mike's got this. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all your favorite shows, shorts, and clips. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harris. Today's schedule is a little bit differently. We're off at 4:30 today because of the Kansas City Royals. Rob is off for the rest of the week. Spectre is here with me today, holding it down as we take you to the bottom of the hour. We talked about this a little bit, and let's get back into it. So, have you guys ever heard the saying that if you're trying to make everybody happy, then you make nobody happy? Like, it is impossible, I think, to be all things for all people and appeal to everybody because everybody's taste is different. I went back and I was thinking about the show, and when we had the conversation about the projected stadium and the stadium designs and the stadium's renderings, and I was just thinking back to some of the pushback and the opposition that people had to the stadium. And for me, in the very limited amount of information that we have less than 10 pictures of what they are talking about for a $3 billion project. We didn't learn anything about anything that's going to go around the stadium. They just showed us a small handful of pictures on what they think the stadium will look like. So for me, I'm not necessarily as worried about the pictures. There are 2 paragraphs that I am holding on to that give me all the peace of mind that I need. These are the 2 paragraphs. So the Chiefs have selected, I believe it's Manica Architecture. I believe that's how you pronounce the name of the company. So in this, it says, quote, so the lead architecture name is David Manica. Quote, this project for me means everything. I was born in Kansas City. I went to a Kansas City high school. I went to KU. I've come back and I started my company here. I have the good fortune of being able to work all around the world. I've done multiple projects in multiple continents and all around our country. And to be able to do this one at home, this is a really, really special day for me. I cannot imagine if you are somebody who grows up and you want to be an architect and you happen to be able to do it. And not only are you an architect, you are one of the best architects in the world. So much so that you get the lead design for the football stadium in Las Vegas. The Golden State Warriors contact you to build a stadium in one of the crown jewels of America in San Francisco. You get picked to do the new stadium for the Chicago Bears whenever they decide on a location. You are going to do the stadium for Nashville in Tennessee, in a city that has grown exponentially over the last 20 years. You have done international soccer stadiums. You have had a hand in really shaping modern architecture for stadiums. You are from Kansas City. You went to Kansas. You started a small company that went on to be worth billions of dollars. You are the one that get picked to do the Chiefs Stadium. I trust that you are going to do a pretty fantastic job with it. So that is one of the quotes that I'm holding on to. The other quote that I'm holding on to is how I think you guys feel. Listen to this. This is a stadium that is not a stadium in the middle of a parking lot. This is a stadium in the middle of a tailgating experience, and that's how we've really approached it. Those 2 quotes are all I need for right now with where we are 5 years away from where the stadium is going to be. So I am going to keep in mind the fact that this is a stadium for Kansas City, built by somebody from Kansas City and somebody that also understands how important tailgating culture is to every single person that goes out to Chiefs games. And as I was thinking back to the show and some of the pushback and opposition, it really just drove home the point of you can't make everybody happy. Because text line, we've done this long enough to know. I kind of know how this would have went. Let's say that yesterday those pictures come out and the new Chiefs Stadium is unrecognizable. It doesn't look comfortable. It doesn't look familiar. They have gone in a radically different direction from where you thought they were going to go. The text line would be on fire with, how could you do this? How could you ruin this? That's not what we wanted. Some of you would be happy that they have gone in a new direction. Some of you would be pissed if they had gone in a new direction. Now you see the stadium renderings. I think it is safe to say that they are taking major inspirations from the structure that they already have, and they are modernizing it to today's standards. The iPhone hasn't really changed that much over the last 20 years. They've removed a couple of buttons, they've enhanced the screen, they've added the camera, but for the most part, the shape of the iPhone has stayed the same. But if you look at your iPhone 17 or whatever number they are at, compared to the original iPhone, you will notice that this phone is superior in every single way. I feel once we walk into the stadium and you see it and you can touch it and you can buy something from there and you can sit in a seat and you're there for a concert or you're there for a football game or a soccer game or whatever they got going on, I believe the feel that they are going for is comfortable, familiar, but new. We have a stadium experience that everybody loves, that everybody feels a closeness. We are going to take our inspiration from that and put our spin on it and put a fresh coat of paint. That this is not going to be an Arrowhead Stadium that was built in the late 60s and early 70s. This is going to be an Arrowhead that was built in 2028 and 2029 with all of the modern bells and whistles of an NFL franchise. That is exciting to me. Some of you, that is also exciting. If they had come out with a new unrecognizable idea, people would have been mad. They've come out with a modern update. People are mad that it feels like the exact same stadium. You just can't make everybody happy is the moral of this thing. So I'm happy with the direction. I imagine some of you are not going to be happy. Some of that is tied into where the stadium is going to go. Some of that is tied into it's going to be a little bit more expensive to go to this stadium than the last one. I'm just going to focus in on those two quotes. This is a stadium that is built in mind of the parking lot and how important the parking lot is to the people that park here. It will not be cheap to park there. So, as I said yesterday in the show, people are going to say how the Chiefs are after your money and they want you to go to all these shops and the restaurants. You're going to go to those shops too. They're also making $80 every single time you park your car. So I don't know if they're that worried about your little small grill out there and you taking a couple hot dogs and hamburgers and getting ready for the game. I know some of you are going way harder than that, but they already got your money. They got your $80 in your parking pass and they got $400 a piece for you on these tickets when you're walking in there. They've made a lot of money off you already. You having a couple of Miller Lights by your car in the parking lot, trust me, that is not stopping the cash register from going crazy, and you're going to buy 2 beers when you walk in there. They've made a lot of money off of you. So I just want you to keep those two things in mind. Maybe I'll end up being wrong. I feel very strongly I will not be wrong. We will love new Arrowhead Stadium, and what was supposed to happen is going to happen. The Chiefs are getting a modern, updated Arrowhead Stadium, albeit way further away than where we thought it was going to go. And the Kansas City Royals are going where they should have went in early 2000. They are going in downtown Kansas City. The Truman Sports Complex was a great idea in 1970. It no longer fits the demographics of the city in 2031. So both teams are moving from that part of town.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think two things can be true. You can be upset that maybe you're not going to be able to afford to go to a Chiefs game in 2031. But you can also be happy that this is a good thing for the city and what it's going to bring to the city. Is that a fair statement?
Say that one more time. I was reading the text on. I'm sorry.
Is it fair to say that you are allowed to be upset that you may not be able to go to a Chiefs game in 2031, 2032 because of parking, tickets, beer prices, whatever? But you can also recognize that it is a good thing for the city because what it's going to bring to the city in regards to Final Fours, WrestleManias, big events. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are overselling the cost of it and how prohibitive it's going to be because in some ways we have now turned Arrowhead into a family-friendly discounted place.
It's not.
And now, in that it's in Big Bad Kansas, it is now going to be I had this quote yesterday. Maybe you didn't hear it. The average get-in price for a football game last year, I'm talking about sitting upstairs, the average get-in price for an NFL stadium was $156 a ticket. You're walking up to the spiral, you're up near the lights, you're up near the drum. The average price, the average ticket for the median price was $312 last year. We looked this up yesterday. The cheapest ticket to go to Chiefs and Broncos on the Chiefs website is $140. You've been priced out of being able to go to Arrowhead. Think about how much it is to go to a Chiefs game now before you even get to the game. So let's say you get 2 tickets, you're sitting upstairs. You're at $300 before you ever walk through there. You got to buy a parking pass. I assume you're going to tailgate or do something. It's the first game of the season. You've spent $400 in deciding to go to one Chiefs game before you've ever seen the football game. So I would say for the average person, you've already been priced out of the experience. But I look at the stands in these things. It ain't empty in these Chiefs games. It's 80,000 people out there every single week.
There's also going to come a time and place, you know this as well as I, in which Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes aren't going to be here. And that doesn't necessarily mean that prices are going to go down per ticket, but there will be tickets available sometime in the 2030s when the Chiefs are not having a minimum 11-6, 12-5 season. At some point in the 2030s, they're going to be 6-11, 5-12, and you're going to get to be able to go to those games at a discounted price. We are just at the peak of the Chiefs being their most popular with the most popular domestic athlete in the country. That is not always going to be the case. Right now, it just happens to be at the peak.
For sure. And I guess I understand it's different. And I understand that one is a once-in-a-lifetime experience with the World Cup. I mean, if the World Cup should show you anything is people have no problem overpaying for events. And what the Chiefs games have turned into right now is they are events. They are places that you want to go, you want to post on your Instagram, you want to post on your Instagram story, you want to tell people that you went to the Chiefs game. That's not really how people view Royals games. That's how people view going to Chiefs games. So I'm with you. Right now, it's at the absolute height of it. It's a big deal to go to a Chiefs game. They're always playing in marquee games. Taylor Swift is there. They've been winning championships. You're right. There's going to be an ebb and flow. At some point, the Chiefs will be a 6-11 football team that is rebounding and trying to get back to where they were, and you're just going to have an ebb and flow and a supply and demand of any single business and how it works. So I'm with you right now. While the Chiefs are in the middle of a dynasty, it's just not really cheap to be able to go to the game. Or you're just going to have to find a deal. You're going to have to find that cold December game that people don't really want to go to, and you can find you a deal. But when it's 75 degrees outside and they're playing the Broncos, you know that it's going to cost. You better either watch it on CBS or ESPN like a large majority of us do. An overwhelming majority of the city watches these games at home on television.
Also, they're taking seats out, so it's going to be smaller. So the price of the seat is going to go up. And also, you just mentioned it, starting in 2031, there's going to be no more cold games because they're going to be playing in a controlled environment. So that December 27th game against the Arizona Cardinals, when it's 10 degrees outside, that maybe they're
just giving tickets away for that game.
Giving tickets away for that game. That is now going to be a nice place to be because it's going to be 72 degrees inside. You're going to walk out to your car and it's 10 degrees.
Yeah,
completely different.
Someone on the text line says, I took the whole fam for $125 to that Christmas Day game. Oh, they was giving tickets away for that Christmas game.
If you had given me $125, I wouldn't have gone.
That Broncos game.
If you would literally I'm going to Venmo you $125, but you have to go to the game, no thanks. You're short.
I knew something was up when that Broncos game when they invited me into the suite. I ain't never gotten invited into the suite at Odyssey before. I got an email from the big boss. I got an email from Spectre's boss. Like, hey, you want to go to the game? Where? Where am I going to sit? Oh, you're going to sit with me in the stands. Really? I get to be with you in the suite?
And there's one thing I know about you after 13 years. Controlled climate is king.
Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't sitting outside
me and
for
you
any
both.
of that game. It actually wasn't nearly as cold as I thought it was going to go.
It's December football.
Yeah, it actually was a little warmer than I thought it was going to be. All right, Spec, somebody asked, what's the deal with Jungle Law? Jungle Law will be in studio on Monday. The only thing I know about this is that he's bringing the monkey. I don't know anything else. I've advocated for him to stay for the whole show. He will be on the show Monday at 4:15. We're taking phone calls. We're reading text. We're getting legal advice. I don't know where the conversation is going to go with Jungle Law, but on Monday, 4:15, Jungle Law will be in studio.
And the hits are brought to you by Jungle Law. Call the lawman at Jungle Law, 816-816-9111. If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, it's time to call the lawman and watch the lawman get roasted for a good cause Saturday, August 1st at the historic Uptown Theater.
I fear that it's over for Tyreek Hill. I fear it's over in a best version of Tyreek Hill, able to help a team, major contributor to a football team. So yesterday on his Instagram page, Tyreek Hill posted, it was a short 1.5-2-minute video. On this video, he says that despite being 10 months removed from his surgery, he does not feel any power in his left leg. That is not good. Football starts this week around the National Football League. The Chiefs report to training camp. The rookies and quarterbacks report on Friday. Everybody is there on Monday. So the reason we are talking about this is, I guess, twofold. The first thing is, if you were counting on Tyreek Hill to be a early season addition, that they would add something to that wide receiver room, I think you can completely go ahead and dismiss that conversation. Tyreek Hill is not playing for the Chiefs. He's not playing for the Bills. He's not playing for the Saints. He's not playing for the team on longest yard. None of those teams between now and the start of the NFL season. I think there's a chance that Tyreek Hill never plays again. Or if Tyreek Hill plays again, it's over. You don't have that level of injury at this stage of his career and then think that you are bouncing back. You are already fighting father time as a 32-year-old speedster wide receiver who's 5'10" and 190 pounds. You now factor in a catastrophic leg injury and a delayed start to the season. Maybe Tyreek Hill plays another down of football. I won't completely discount or discredit his ability to come back and be on an NFL roster. But we see this happen pretty regularly in sports. Sometimes that injury is the end of your career. Even though you come back and you play for another year, maybe a year and a half, all of the explosiveness, all of the athleticism, the start and stop, the jittery nature that you had, all of that has completely gone out of the window. Odell Beckham was having a pretty good year with the Los Angeles Rams. He joined in the middle of the season after the trade from Cleveland. He was having a good Super Bowl. He has the knee injury. He basically hasn't contributed much. In fact, Odell Beckham missed all of last year, and now he is the fifth receiver on the New York Giants. It's over for Odell Beckham. I fear that's where we are with Tyreek Hill. Now, all time, I think that Tyreek Hill is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Tyreek Hill was a first-team All-Pro 5 separate times, second-team All-Pro. He made 8 Pro Bowls. In 2023, he was the best receiver in the National Football League. He led the NFL in touchdowns, also led the NFL in yards. He's also on the All-Decade team, and he was an important member of a team that went to multiple Super Bowls, winning one of those Super Bowls. That guy ultimately gets into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't think he's a first ballot kind of guy, but that guy, in my opinion, ultimately gets into the Pro Football Hall of Fame for his contribution to one of the better teams of the decade and one of the better teams in NFL history of the Kansas City Chiefs. So if this is the end for Tyreek Hill, at least on the field, it has been a phenomenal career that he has had so far. Off the field, that's a completely different conversation. But nobody can deny when Tyreek Hill was his healthiest and when he was at his absolute peak, he was as dangerous of a wide receiver that we've seen over the last 25 years.
You and I both grew up in the same era of mixtapes. We love a good YouTube mixtape. Where do you rank Tyreek Hill on NFL wide receiver mixtapes on YouTube?
That's a good one.
Because 2017 to 2022, the clips that he has probably rivals, I'm not saying he's one of the 5 best receivers in NFL history, obviously, but it probably rivals the Randy Moss, probably rivals Megatron. I'm trying to think of who else's YouTube clips even match Tyreek Hill's, but you and I both love the mixtape. Where does he rank? Who am I missing?
He's pretty high up on the list. There was a play that he made in his career that I've never seen a wide receiver at this level do. It was I think it was Sunday Night Football. It could have been Monday Night Football. I don't remember the exact day, but it was on the road against the New England Patriots. And he caught the ball at the 50-yard line in the middle of the field.
Sunday Night Football.
And I don't know how he did it, but after catching the ball in the middle of the field, he got to the sideline somehow and scored a touchdown. And I'm thinking, there's only one player in the league that could have done this. There's no other player in the league that could have caught the ball where he caught the ball, not just got to the sideline, but got to the sideline untouched, runs in a straight line, scores a touchdown. I'm pretty sure that's when they started throwing the beer at him. In that, he did some things in his absolute prime in terms of start and stop and just acceleration and running by people. I remember Danny told me this very early on when we were working together, that one of the things that you look for is like speed discrepancy. Who looks really fast amongst really other fast people? Like T.Y. Hilton was that kind of guy. You remember telling me the story. I watched him in college. I knew that guy had a chance of being a pro because he made fast people look slow. That's what Tyreek Hill did. There was a time where there was no debate on who the fastest player in the league was. He's the fastest player I've ever seen play football before.
And what's crazy is we heard a lot about this about Xavier Worthy. I don't. Do you see that speed? Because I don't.
No.
I'm not talking in comparison to Tyreek Hill. I'm just saying general NFL speed. I have never seen that with Xavier Worthy, except for maybe the first game of his career when he scored those 2 touchdowns against the Ravens.
Xavier Worthy is the fastest receiver that I've ever seen that isn't a deep threat. Normally, when you've got a burner...
McCall Hardman. I think McCall Hardman's faster than Xavier Worthy, and I don't think either one of them is a downfield threat.
Yeah, but there was a time with McCall Hardman where you got that form of it. I mean, McCall Hardman's rookie year, he averaged 20 yards a catch. He was a big play receiver. He didn't necessarily turn into that. When have you seen that level of consistency from Xavier Worthy and he kind of been a home run threat?
Yeah, I don't think of McCall Hardman as catching the ball 30 yards down the field over his shoulder, though. I think of it more as breakaway and run. So I guess I know that's small line in the sand, but I think there's a big difference between downfield threat and big play threat.
Yeah, I'm looking at Xavier Worthy's yards per catch. His rookie year, he averaged 10.8 yards per catch. It was a little bit better. He averaged 12.7 yards per catch this past season. I was actually reading Arrowhead Pride earlier today. I mean, a big thing with Xavier Worthy, I understand the injuries played a major part in this as well. You know, he only touched the ball 53 times last year. 53 times. If you're going to have Xavier Worthy in your offense and you're going to use him as, I don't want to use the term gadget player because that sounds demeaning at times, especially for a guy who is a first-round pick. But if he's going to be a speedster, can break the game open kind of guy, you got to give him more than 3 to 5 touches a game, which is basically what he ended up getting last year. So we'll see how he can incorporate into the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs. But you guys kind of know where I stand with Xavier Worthy. I am probably more pessimistic about him so far. I think that, at least for me, in terms of what I thought he was going to be coming into the league, I don't think that's what he has been so far. But we're heading into year 3. He is healthy heading into this season. You got Rashee Rice on the other side. You got Xavier Worthy. You got Chad O'Shea. I'm willing to go into this season with an open mind about what Xavier Worthy can be. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Speck was here today filling in for Rob. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Go Royals. It's The Drive.